All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of
No.
Talk Sports. We are here. I apologize for this delayed episode. We were trying to get this episode out way earlier in the week. Had some family stuff going on, so we had to move it over to today, but everything is now all good. It was all
We
good
are
news.
here.
We are
We are
here.
here in the now. Oh,
Here in the now, we got the draft done and over with. We're going to give our teams draft grades and kind of mix in other teams and, see if we thought they did shitty, see if we thought they did good. Going to be using actual tools and research instead of the good old fashioned, well, with the help of AI, of course. We always like to have AI help us a little bit here. But first things first, um, baseball. Baseball's going on here. And we have the Yankees and the Mets. The tale of two cities. Or
the
actually,
tail of
tale
the
of two
tail of the
sides.
same.
Tale of two sides of the same city.
Tail of two burrows.
Yeah, two boroughs. The Bronx is booming and Queens is not. So it is very
You love to see it.
listen, it's kind of nice a little bit to see the Mets down a little, and with all the shit talking that they do, and the Yankees are just the best team in the American League. So
We're we're back,
we're
baby.
we're back. I'll let you guys kind of start a little bit, but I'll say that the Yankees are playing very very well. Best team in the American League. Um, Easily. Scorer has the highest run differential. Like I think we're at plus 53 now for the season. Um,
Dominating.
Only weakness is the bullpen, but other than that, they've been really really good. So I'll let you guys go ahead and kind of start a little bit, and I'll kind of pop in.
I'm gonna tip my cap over to Texas. I'll let Dano kick us off this evening.
I appreciate that. So, with that being said, I'll start with the Mets, the disappointment in the city. Um, Second highest payroll in all of baseball. This owner, when he bought the team, promised a World Series within 5 years. Waited, waited 2 years to sign this general manager, Stearns, who has absolutely shit the bed in every way, shape, and form. Um, there have been so many calls to fire the manager. This is the fourth worst start in franchise history for the Mets. They're the worst team in baseball. They have the worst offense in baseball. Granted, Lindor is hurt, and they did just get Soto back. However, the rest of the lineup is LD, and I'll let you try to figure out what LD stands for.
I have a good idea.
No good. No good all the way up and down the lineup. Now, Simeon, there are a lot of people that are going to point to Simeon's, how well he's hitting with runners on base. I would just say that there haven't been many runners on base with Simeon up at the plate. So those stats are a bit skewed because of just how poor their offense has been so far. The pitching has been okay. The bullpen has actually been, not great. I guess. I guess
Devin
you could
Williams
call
and Luke
them
Weaver
decent.
have been awful.
Yeah, Devin Williams. Devin Williams is proving that he cannot pitch in New York. He might be good outside of New York, but he cannot pitch in the city of New York
When
for
the
either fan
pressure's
base.
on and the lights are the brightest, he crumbles
Yeah.
like
And it actually makes me really mad to think that we got rid of a century old rule for facial hair for this guy. Actually makes me really mad that we did that. Like, of all the people that you were going to do that for, we did it for this dude. And he's going to be out of here so fast. He's going to be pitching in Cincinnati or something like that next year. And he'll probably be really good again. But
listen,
no good.
let the Mets poach some more Yankee talent. I go It's like we cleanse ourselves every off season, and they like, oh yeah, we got a Yankee this year.
Yeah, David Stearns' grand master plan has essentially been to destroy the core of the team. Now you look at the Texas Rangers and how Brandon Nimmo is playing right now. I get Pete Alonso's not, he hasn't had the greatest start. I think it's been 6 home runs through 30 games, 35 games, whatever. Brandon Nimmo is on
Listen,
fire for the Texas Rangers right now.
so the turnover that the Jets, I'm sorry, I apologize. The Mets roster went through this past year, alienating some very key players that were contributing at a higher level, and they're thriving elsewhere. Like we just talked about Polar Bear, he's he was smashing home runs this whole series against the Yankees in Baltimore. You just said Nimmo. I'm not sure what Jeff McNeil's doing this year,
No, no, nothing.
but I mean he was another key player
Mhm.
for that team, and I mean Juan Soto signing with the Mets. It has to look like they thought that was the cherry on top of the sundae. That was going to take them to the next level. Since Juan Soto has signed with the Mets are, I believe the record is 94 and 100.
Yes, that's true.
94 and 100
Yeah.
since Juan Soto signed with the Mets. And that goes on top of their this year, what are they 10 and 21?
10 and 22.
10 and 22, worst record in baseball.
Worst record in baseball. And now Albi, I know he
Season's
hasn't
over too for them.
hasn't played for the last whatever couple weeks, but proof is in the pudding right now. Like season's over.
Yeah,
Rich,
their season's over.
Rich, I know you're listening in Dog Talk Land. T's and P's, my friend. The
Yeah.
Subway Series is not going to happen. And it's not because the Yankees didn't hold up their end of the bargain. That's all I'm going to say right now.
No team has ever made the playoffs losing 12 games in a row. So I don't care that it's May. The Mets season is over, and Rich will tell you that too.
Yeah, most people are saying that. Most Met fans are saying that. It would be absolutely shocking if they turned this around. The general manager released a statement either today or yesterday, basically saying that the manager's job was safe. Um, we haven't heard from the owner in a couple of weeks. He's usually on Twitter, tweeting some random stuff about, hey, how come you didn't take the free tickets that we offered, blah, 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 blah. Well, it's been crickets for the last 2 weeks. Um,
He's worried about his casinos. That's why he bought the Mets.
well, I mean, listen, they do have the second highest payroll. I mean, I can't say that it's all about the casinos. I'm sure that's obviously an attractive part of it for him. But they have the second highest payroll in all of baseball, and they have the worst record in baseball. So it's not like you could say that he is not spending. It's not like you can say that he didn't hire. When this general manager was hired, most of the Met fan base was excited because of the success that he had in Milwaukee, with a team with virtually no payroll, and he did great things with that team. So there weren't many people in baseball at the time of that hire that had anything negative to say about it. So I'm not going to get totally on the owner's case, except for to say this is that he's loud and boisterous on Twitter when things are so or when things seem okay. And then he just totally vanishes and goes away
Bring
when
that
things aren't
same
going okay.
bring that same energy.
Right. So,
Bring that same energy.
listen, I get it. These hedge fund guys on Wall Street, they think, oh, I made $1 billion in my career. What is sport? What is professional athletics compared to what I achieved on Wall Street? I could take this shit over. Well, I got news for you. It's a lot harder to run a baseball team than
It's
what most of these jabronis think. Just because you made a lot of money on Wall Street doesn't mean that you know what you're doing in baseball.
Baseball's a
And
difficult sport to nail down, and it's a lot of personalities. And what do you think the biggest contributing factor to the Mets' decline is? Because I'm almost at a I'd have to say for me it's probably the team chemistry.
it's the
I was
team
just about to
chemistry.
say, yeah, I was about to
Yeah.
say team cohesion.
Team cohesion and the fact that, let's be honest, this general manager, and this is New York, this isn't Milwaukee, right? They had a huge collapse at the end of last year to miss the playoffs. It was a huge collapse. I think it was an overreaction to what happened, and you saw them basically gut the team and bring in a bunch of older players, a bunch of players that are and been at a higher risk of injury. Um, and declining players. And you see that all up and down the lineup. I mean, Simeon might, have put together a decent year, but he's nowhere near the player he used to be. Luis Robert Jr. always hurt. A lot of
Always.
potential, always hurt. Um, it's just a lot of that in this lineup. And then, okay, I get it. What's his name? He's hurt for the Dodgers right now, the closer who they let go. Can't think right now.
Edwin Diaz.
Edwin Diaz, he's hurt right now, but you know what? You never know. If he stays in the Mets, you don't know that he's going to
Probably
get hurt.
it's probably hurt for the Mets too. Like who
Maybe, maybe not, but I'm just saying, like, and then the owner got so mad that Edwin walked when he thought that he was going to give the Mets a chance to match the contract that the Dodgers offered him. He said no, and he just left.
No, he said, I'm going to Cali and I'm winning a ring this year.
So what did the owner do? He overstepped his GM, and they overpaid for Bo Bichette. Bo Bichette's a nice player. Bo Bichette is a very nice player under the right circumstance. He's playing out of position.
Yep.
He's
That's the other
not a
reason
very
why
good
they keep
third
losing.
baseman. Yeah.
He's a
Just
complimentary piece.
just very he's a good piece. He was pretty good for Toronto. I think Toronto just knew that they would have to overpay for him to keep him, and they were good. Goodbye. We're good. Um, I think that you just have a terrible roster construction on top of it not being a great clubhouse. Whereas last year, I think the team was better last year.
I
The bottom.
I was going to say that. I think overall that it was a better team. And that's what happens when you start just pulling pieces and going, all right, these are good players here. You're on the field. That kind of reminds me of the later Steinbrenner teams when he was like when Randy Johnson was they plucked him finally and like just all those different guys. It just never felt like it was just a bunch of names. It wasn't a
Right.
team.
Well, look what he
Um,
did the first year that he built the team. What they got Matt Scherzer and they got Justin Verlander, right?
and that
And brought in Buck Showalter.
But that was a great move. I applauded that move at the time.
hindsight is always 2020.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it was what at the deadline, both of those guys were gone.
Yeah, they were both
Yep.
gone
Gone.
because they were paying them too much
I
to.
think they were gone the following year because Scherzer did pitch into the
Yeah,
playoff for him.
yeah, they were there for a year and a half, but
Okay.
but
But
that following summer they were gone.
that experiment did not last long though.
No.
No. So, I mean, I kind of agree with both you guys. I think the clubhouse just stinks. I think there's a major cancer going on in that clubhouse. And I think every Met fan at this point will tell you it's Francisco Lindor. I mean, he is completely alienated so many players. It's one of the reasons why at least 3 or 4 of them left and didn't want to come back. This guy is a serious problem in that locker room. The team cohesion is not good. All the big signings that they made, they're being played out of position. Like, obviously, right now, Bo Bichette's probably resuming his shortstop duties now that Lindor got hurt. But, he's a shortstop who's never played third base, and they're asking him to play third base. They lost Pete Alonso, so they go and they get Jorge Polanco, who's a second baseman. They're asking him to play first base. Like this is not a good. It's not a good roster construction. That's not what you're supposed to do. I think Dan's right. I think this was Steve Cohen getting impatient and angry and not letting David Stearns do what he did in Milwaukee. Because in Milwaukee, he can take his time and build it the right way and build a sustained winner, which is what Milwaukee is. They're always good now. And Cohen said, nope, this team needs to be really good, which is, has its pros and its cons. Its pros is it's always a guy that wants to make sure he has the ability to get the best players available, which is always a good thing to have. But if you get the wrong pieces and you have the wrong manager and you have the wrong GM, then it really doesn't matter. So I think the Mets have a lot of work to do. I would not be shocked if there's a fire sale. I would not be shocked if Lindor gets traded. I would not be shocked if Stearns gets handed a pink slip and if Mendoza gets handed a pink slip. I mean, Stearns could say the manager's job is safe all he wants. Steve Cohen could say, fuck you. I don't care. So we'll see what happens with the Mets, but
Man,
it's
Juan
no
Soto
good.
in pinstripes is gonna hit like crack. Is all I'm saying.
Oh yeah, Juan Soto. Listen,
Oh my
he'll be
God.
back for his age 29 season.
This summer, Juan Soto
This summer he goes.
for Grisham and Volpe straight up.
Ew. Never gonna happen.
Yeah, let's do it.
Punch, boom, right there. Hit the button right now. But so listen, how about the other borough?
Listen, the other borough, they're pretty good. I don't mean to interrupt, but before we go to the next segment, I don't know if it's Pete or Danielson, but I hear TV in the background.
I'm
It
muted.
might be mine. Hold on.
It might be Dan. It's not a big deal, but I just wanted to, I was.
Zach said, "Shut that fucking TV off right now."
It doesn't need to be off. I was just like,
He
wait, I
said,
hear
"Turn that off right now."
TV.
Okay, we're back.
Okay, there we
We're
go.
professional here. We're pros.
I heard it like in between. I was like, I don't know if Pete's watching something or if Dan's watching something.
Well, Alicia was in the living room with Elliot, but they went into our room.
Okay.
I am muted. But
All right, but yeah. So let's talk about the Yankees. Go ahead, Pete.
oh, the Yankees. Let's talk about the Yankees. Let's just talk about 6'7", 200 and whatever pounds, the home run king. Let's talk about him.
Leading the league in home runs again.
Uh, is that a surprise? Is that a surprise?
Not really.
Nope.
He has 12, right?
He has 12.
He has 12.
3 players tied with 12.
So he has 12 home runs. The year he hit 62, he left April with 6. So we're already 6 ahead of the pace right now.
This was his best April of his career. Like he's usually not good in April.
Historically cold in April, and man, are we heated up for a 75 banger this year. I called it in the beginning of the year, and I am standing 10 toes down. I am standing on business.
I think he gets walked too much this year, though.
Aaron Judge is the best player on the planet.
He is.
He is going to hit 75 home runs, and you know what? A man by the name of Ben Rice batting alongside him. Ooh-wee! Ben Rice is just cooking right now.
Best duo in baseball.
Ben Rice should never touch the bench ever. I know Zach and I have been shouting this from the Empire State Building that he should never touch the bench ever again.
Yeah, after the first 2 weeks, when he was still every now and then given an off day for Goldie or whatever against lefties, I was like, all right, whatever. That's not a big deal.
No.
But now
he is feasting.
Now, listen, he is amongst the league leaders in power hitting. He is amongst the league leaders in power hitting.
Batting for average, batting for homers, RBIs, and on base
Yeah, on
percentage.
base percentage, slugging percentage, OPS, all of it is through the. He has an OPS of like 1.19 or something stupid.
It's judge level
It
OPS.
is. It is. I mean, he is outperforming most hitters in baseball right now. So, yeah, he should not be getting any off days now because he's proven himself to be an essential piece on our team.
First in major leagues in OPS,
Yeah.
1.164.
Yeah, and he's leading Judge by like 100 points in slugging percentage right now. It's insane.
I love it. I
It's
am
insane.
so here for it. And him batting in front of Judge, Belly batting behind Judge. Belly hit two bombs today. Like, I
Belly went
mean,
4 for 4 today. He's really heating up.
He's a
no,
Yankee, man, and we all said
don't
it.
gotta eat. Don't gotta eat.
We all
Oh,
said it with that signing. He's a Yankee. He's got the
it
Yankee swing, everything. He's
it
just a
just
Yankee.
when it feels right,
You know
it
it.
it feels right.
Hmm.
Fits like a glove. Um, Jazz is starting to kick out of whatever whatever 50-50 funk he put on himself.
I guess if
Uh,
yeah, I guess if I was ever going to be negative right now about the Yankees, I'd be the one guy because he's a little annoying. But
God, just shut your mouth and stop challenging pitches.
yeah,
You can. They,
please.
they should fine him every single time he's wrong when he challenges a strike.
Like the fact that we went into the year knowing, because Judge told us, knowing that Booney held 9,000 meetings going into this season regarding ABS and challenges. I mean, what are you doing, man? I mean, like you're actually embarrassing yourself at this point. Just like you said, just stop and stop talking unless you know what you're talking about, and just play baseball, please, because I'm getting a little tired of him. But anyway,
He talks a lot. He
he
really
talks a
does.
lot.
But I, it's a catch 22 because sometimes you need
I
that
was about to
kind of
say, yeah,
you
you
kind of
need a
need
little bit
that
of that.
a little swag to the lineup. He's like our modern day when we had Swisher because Swisher was kind of that crazy outside the box personality for that team because that '09 team was just it was suits and ties, they were business. They showed up to the ballpark every day and it was we're we are here to play baseball and we were here to win games. And Swish was that guy that was like, "Oh, I'm bringing some personality to this team because it's too stiff that way." Jazz is kind of similar, but God, he's difficult to listen to.
I give you that. That's actually a pretty good comparison. Swisher was much more mature at that point in time when he came to us.
Yeah,
Jazz has got a lot of growing up to do, man.
a
That's
ton,
all I'll say.
a ton, an absolute ton. But I mean, on the other end of that, our starting rotation.
Best in
Sick.
baseball.
It's sick.
And we don't even have Cole and Rodon, and it's already the best in
And
baseball.
call me crazy. I'm expecting, I'm not expecting Cole to be lights out when he gets back, but I am expecting Rodon to be what he was last year for us. I'm expecting that from him.
Listen,
And
this
if
is
we get that from him, we're in really, really good shape.
year three, Rodon in New
Yeah.
York. He quickly found out that first year was rough,
I think
and
this is
then
4.
year four, okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that first year he was with us,
Rough.
rough. Second year he got around, he figured it out.
He was starting to figure it out. Yeah.
Year three, he had 18 wins last year.
Yeah. He was great
This,
last year.
this is I especially now, Freed, Schlittler,
Schlittler should be Cy Young, by the way.
Who's the early Cy Young favorite for the
Yeah.
American League,
There's
by the
no
way.
pitcher better than baseball than Schlittler right now.
He
Zero.
is. Oh my God! Dang, the
Well,
baseball gods have rained down on us, and they were
so
like.
yeah,
So then you throw Rodon would be our three, right?
he would be our three, and he's a perfect three
He
for us.
might be. He might be our four.
He might be.
Does he go in front of? He doesn't pitch in front of Cole.
Well, that's the thing is, Cole's the
But
wild card to me at this point. I don't
Cole
really know what to
Cole's the
expect from Cole.
luxury.
He is
Cole's
the luxury.
he's the luxury because
Yeah,
if you get three-quarters or half of what Cole has been for us, that's still better than anybody's 4, 5, or 3 for that matter.
I think that's very fair.
Yeah.
So
Because Fried would be 1, Schlittler 2, or even
Rodon,
yeah. Then Rodon would be 4. I'd put Cole at 3 if we're doing like a 7-game series in the playoffs. Like who you would getting the ball first? I'm like, well, I'm giving the ball to Max Fried first, and then I'll give
yeah,
it to Schlittler.
Yeah, if Cole is stretched out and he's looking good by that point, I do prefer him in a playoff series. The third spot over Rodon for sure.
Rodon, and then our fifth guy then becomes Warren,
Warren,
who
who's been awesome.
Who's been
Yeah.
great.
great, and Weathers
Been okay.
starting to step up too. So it's
Optimistic about Weathers when
it's
we got him.
it's champagne problems right now. That's what did
Yeah.
I say? What did I say? Getting Cole and Rodon back. It's just like making a couple big trades.
Yeah.
To temper my own expectations when it comes to Cole because it's so easy just to think, oh, he's just going to be Cy
Cole,
Young Cole when he comes back. That's just not the reality of this.
Yeah.
That's
Especially since he'll probably be on an innings
he's
limit
going to be
for a
on
while.
limitations. He's 35,
5.
36 now.
yeah,
He's 35.
he's 35.
So, and a couple interviews, it looks like he's been eating good. He's got a little bit of a spare tire there, but you know what?
A little bit.
You know what I said? I
If he could
said,
pitch, I don't give a shit what he looks
I
like.
said, I said that's going to help him throw harder.
Right. Get some more weight behind that arm. That's fine.
That's why CC was 300 plus pounds all those years. Helped him with this fastball.
Yeah, CC was a fucking building. So
Pretty
but
much.
yeah, love what the Yankees are doing. Usually I'm the big pessimist and this team isn't winning shit and blah 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 blah.
Oh, yeah.
This is
is this like a retraction right now?
no, because it's only May, and I want to see what they do in July and August, and that's always the real test for most teams. So if they do well in those months, then I'm really going to be buying in. But can't complain right now. They're the best team in baseball, and can't really complain too much more.
Let's be fair. This fan base, 95% of this fan base gave Cashman a lot of crap.
They
for,
should.
for this
Well, and
offseason.
rightfully so.
But when you look at this team right now, okay,
And this is why, all right, and this is why it always comes back around to, all right, well, I mean, Cashman made the moves that he made the moves that you're supposed to make, and here we are. Now, when we're game 1 of the World Series and Aaron Boone decides he wants to bring in
Ryan Weathers for the 7th.
Ryan Weathers to
be a setup man.
Be the setup man
randomly
against a bases loaded Freddie Freeman. Then it circles right back to you have arrived back at fire Boone and Cashman.
Well, it's crazy to say this because it feels like it just happened last year, but we're in year 9 of Aaron Boone. Joe Girardi got 10 years, and he won a World Series. So
yeah, but he won a World Series in like his
second year.
Second
year.
year.
Yeah. Now, there's no telling if he had won more, if he would have gotten more time on the bench. But I'm just saying, unless Booney gets one this year,
But his contract's up after this year,
his
so
contract is up. And,
Uh,
bro, I
he's got
don't
a
care what they have to do. Go get Alex Cora. He's taken the year off. The Phillies just made a really good move by getting rid of their manager and trying to get him because he's the second best manager in baseball behind Terry Francona, in my opinion. And if we don't get it done because of a Booney decision in the playoffs again this year, I'm done with him. And let's go get a real manager.
Alex Cora will never be a manager for the New York
Why?
Yankees.
Why not? Why not? Why not? We had Wade on our 1996 World Series team. We had
Cora,
Roger Clemens on our team in 2003 that beat the Red Sox to go to the World Series. There have been plenty of guys that we've had, you know what I mean, from rival teams.
they don't do that with managers, though. Managers are, it's a historically, there's there's a mold, and I get breaking out of that mold, but if
well, if
you
they
were gonna
don't, they're never gonna win.
if you said to me who the next manager of the New York Yankees would be, I would tell you it would be Jorge Posada.
Okay. I mean, yeah, that'd be a really
I just
feel-good
sucked.
story.
I just sucked it up based on the fact that look what he did with Italy. That was
Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that he would be bad. I'm just saying managers in Major League Baseball right now. Number one,
I
Terry Francona. Number two, Alex Cora.
Yes.
not
You could tell me about the cheating all you want. He's the second best manager in Major League Baseball right now.
well, good. Maybe he can help them cheat better.
Whatever. I mean, all teams are trying to gain an advantage in some way, shape, or form. I mean, don't outright, hit garbage cans and stuff like that. But, you know, stealing
No,
signs, all that kind of stuff, that's been going on for 100 years.
just electronic buzzers underneath your jersey.
Yeah. Well, that
Don't
wasn't
touch
Alex Cora, though.
No, don't touch my shirt. Don't touch my shirt.
Yeah. Now, that's a guy you will never see with the Yankees in any capacity because of that. The fan base would never welcome him in any capacity even as a bench coach. It would never happen.
Fuck him. Anyway, but
Anyway,
Yankees World Series, book it right now because you know what? I see golden rays of sunshine coming through Zach's window, and it's just the Yankees. Ah, it's a new aura about him. He's sitting a little straighter. He's look, is that a smile on Zachary's face?
we'll see how long it lasts. I don't trust them.
Incredible.
Listen, you get a Bronx. That stadium is going to be hopping all summer long. You're going to be able to have tennis practice at City Field in the stands. So
He's not wrong.
it's tough for us
They're
to
giving they're
criticize them.
giving away tickets at City Field.
Zach, I think I'm gonna boldly say that we probably should catch a playoff game in
I'd be
person.
I would be down for that. If they had extra money that isn't going towards the wedding.
We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out.
If you have to
Playoff-
sit nosebleeds, do it just to
To-
experience it.
To experience playoff baseball in New York's in Yankee Stadium, it's a religious experience.
Excellent. We'll touch on the Knicks here a little bit, and then we'll get to the meat and potatoes of this episode. They did advance. They beat the Hawks by over 50 in Game 6 in Atlanta. Kind of woke up a little bit. They were not playing well for the first half of that series. The Hawks were decisively the better team for the first 4 games. But the Knicks woke up, realized that they were the better team, and took care of business. The East as a whole has been very interesting. 3 Game 7s have already been forced. right now. One of the game sevens is being played, Celtics Sixers with no Jason Tatum. That game is a little bit close.
Celtics brought it back.
Celtics brought it back, so that's a big deal. So we're gonna see what else happens here, but the Knicks should, you know, the East is wide open this year. The East very much is. Obviously, the Pistons were a bad matchup for them in the regular season. The Celtics were a bad matchup for them in the regular season. Obviously, I know most Knicks fans probably want the 76ers to win. But
They don't want to play Boston.
no, I don't think you want to play Boston. So we'll see
We'll
what
be we'll
happens.
be either team. But yeah, the road will probably be easier if we're playing the Sixers. But everything changed once they started basically running the offense through Cat and making him the point center. Everything changed. And if we get the version of Mikal Bridges that we got 2 nights ago, that's going to be very good. If we get the version of Mikal Bridges that we got in games 2 and 3, that's going to be very bad. We absolutely need Mikal Bridges if we're going to win an NBA title to play the way he did the other night. It's pretty much that simple because we know what we're going to get out of Brunson. We know what Cat is capable of, and now that they're playing it the right way, I got to give Mike Brown credit for the adjustments. As long as it continues this way. So right now, as it stands, I mean, they have a legitimate chance to win the East.
They do.
I agree.
I agree. It was looking grim in the beginning of that series, and I immediately thought
I watched one of those games with Jason and Rich at a B-Dubs, and it was the game winner, and I'm like, bro, what's going on here?
Yeah, that was going to be very bad. That was going to
Yeah.
be the end of this team.
Mike Brown would have
everyone was going to get traded.
I was like, Brown's getting fired, and that team is getting
Blown
blown
up.
up.
Yeah.
So listen, give him credit. He's making the correct adjustments, and it needs to look the way that it did in games 5 and 6 going forward. That simple.
Yeah. I mean, this last game that they dog wall. I thought I was seeing, like, I turned on the game in the second quarter and it was 72 to like 21, and I was like, what?
I had
Is
the
this-
game on in the background for that while I was eating dinner, and I was like, oh my God.
I thought there was like the error
typo.
Yeah, I was like 72. This is like insane. But
It was the biggest lead at halftime in the history of the NBA in the playoffs.
yeah, that's impressive. Impressive to say the least. And I mean, just man, Brunson. Brunson is a dog. If he would have stuck around, if they would have kept him around in Dallas, that would have been nice. Him in
Dallas had him and Luca at the same time.
But Mark Cuban is kicking his own ass every day, thinking about what he did. The Mavericks should have been absolutely a relevant NBA team right now. There's no doubt about it.
dude.
I don't know. They got Cooper flagged. They're going to be fine.
Yeah, but they were so far ahead of that.
They were removed from the NBA Finals.
Yeah.
Yeah. Listen, I agree, but they're going to have this kid. He's so special. I think they're going to be just fine for a long time. The NBA gave him a gift, so
they did give him a gift.
They gave him a gift.
As good as Cooper Flag is,
he's not Luka Doncic.
San Antonio is the team that everybody's excited about down here.
Wow, because Wemby's an alien.
And Stephon Castle and what's his name, the point guard,
Ron Harper Jr.
And Fox.
De'Aaron Fox.
De'Aaron Fox.
That's a good
And
team, man.
that's a really, really good team. Good young core players.
And you know what? That successor for Popovich, he's a fucking great coach.
He is.
San
And
Antonio just always seems to know how to
Bring it together.
put it together.
Yep.
yep, they're a very stable franchise. Very,
Stable,
very, very stable.
consistent, right
Yes.
there.
Consistent high leadership.
hmm
So, but the Knicks, man, Jalen Brunson. Just leave it at.
If you're gonna win, this is the year to do it.
This is the year. Listen, if Knicks fans, they're all excited because they know that it's all culminated to this point, right? It does seem like it needs to be this year. You know, it seems like there's a window open for them right now. Even with the strength in the West, I think they could win a 7-game series against anybody when they're playing their best basketball right now.
The Knicks, they won that bullshit in the halfway through the
No,
year,
they didn't even raise a banner for it.
but they won it, right?
Yeah, they won it.
Boom, clean sweep this year. They're going to the halfway tournament, and now they're gonna.
I'll tell you what they should do. If the Knicks somehow win an NBA championship this year, which by the way, that city will go berserk if the Knicks win the finals.
Bergen County,
you know how crazy Knicks fans are?
Will go berserk.
Nick, you got Knicks fans literally huddled around in the cold around Madison Square Garden, you know, as the playoffs were starting. I mean, they're kind of nuts, bro. So they'll lose their minds. And what was I going to say? If they raise that banner, raise the freaking. I don't care. At that point, raise the other one too. You've earned the right. You know what I mean? At that point, you've earned the right to raise that other banner. The Lakers rose one of their, you know. We're talking about the Lakers raising that banner.
Double banners.
So if you win the NBA championship, raise it.
Raise them
I
both.
don't care.
You know what Brunson's raising? Brunson's raising his finger to the air because he acknowledges his tribal chief.
We acknowledge the tribal chief on this podcast.
The tribal chief, Roman Reigns, on this podcast, along with Jalen Brunson.
That's so funny, the wrestling crossover with that. That's really funny.
You know what's really funny is there's a lot of specifically NBA athletes that are huge wrestling fans. Like Brunson and Halliburton were like
Halliburton was behind the announcers the entire WrestleMania weekend.
Yeah, he has a full-on like relationship with them. Like it's kind of funny.
How does Pat McAfee like is essentially becoming a culture icon? You know, he's like a cultural icon now.
Yeah, for sports.
He even cross over, you know, now a little bit.
But he's done it like all, like on the field, media, taking it outside college,
WrestleMania.
WrestleMania, college football, regular sports show. He's done very, very well.
Joe fucking Schmo from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania via West Virginia football. All right. So I remember going to visit West Virginia in college with Garge and Pac to go see Chelsea and Pac's brother. And we went to the West Virginia football. They were throwing a party and we went to the house and McAfee was full blown. He was the kicker there.
Yeah.
And Chelsea's roommate was the starting center for that team, and just being in that entire atmosphere was just dogs, just crazy.
Wasn't Steve Slayton the running back on that team?
Slayton, running back. Pat White was the quarterback.
Pat White. That's right.
Pat White was a Heisman finalist.
Yes, they were great that year. West Virginia.
They were untouchable. And that was Ray Rice Rutgers years.
Yes.
It was that entire conference was
fun.
It was fun football.
It was.
Very fun.
Yeah, Pat McAfee, dog.
He's a dog.
Speaking of football, very nice transition there. See? High IQ playing chess over there. Let's get to the NFL draft here. The NFL draft has come and gone. We're going to now dive into our teams, and then when we're done with our teams, we'll kind of pick and choose certain major picks that got a lot of headlines, certain teams that got a lot of headlines, certain events that got a lot of headlines.
Draft
So
grades, baby. We are
draft
here.
we're all going to give our own personal grades. I've done some homework on a lot of the different next gen stats and athletic scores and all this good stuff. I came prepared for this one today, but it's only fitting that we go in order of the draft. So let's start with the Raiders, who are on the clock, number one overall. I'll let Pete go first, but Pete, what do you think your Raiders did here, or how do you think?
Boom, boom. With the first overall pick in the 2026 NFL draft, the Las Vegas Raiders select Fernando Mendoza, quarterback of Indiana, Heisman Trophy winner, national championship winner, the future of the franchise. So I gave the Raiders an A plus. I'm just saying, when you get the most important person at the most important position in the draft, you're a winner. I it's hard to mess up after that. But what the Raiders did after that was just compound and just build at positions that of need and of skill sets and going deep into the draft, finding just dogs, some top tier talent later on in the draft. Um, so I have some breakdowns for the Las Vegas Raiders. So Fernando Mendoza, pick one. He was, according to our friends over at Pro Football Sports, best draft simulator in town. Um, Rated Fernando Mendoza. He was a 90.6, average draft position 1.2. So this is the worst kept secret in all of the NFL. Fernando Baby was going 101. Raiders followed that up, second round pick, 38th overall, defensive back, played corner, is gonna play safety. Trade on Stukes out of Arizona. He's rated at 84.8. He was ranked the number one cornerback according to PFSN. Um, According to their average draft position, 64. So took him higher than that, but when you look at the tape and what he put together,
Yeah, that's what I'm
uh,
seeing too.
getting his combine comparisons were Marshawn Lattimore and Desmond Trufant. So when you're getting put into those categories, you know the dude can ball. Third round pick, 67th overall, edge rusher, on Crawford out of Auburn, an 81.02 draft grade. Average draft position 94. Needed another edge rusher to kind of complement Max Crosby, help with the rush, and then went on to go third round. Got played center. He's going to play guard. Texas A&M. Trey Zune. He was the number one ranked center in the draft. When you get somebody like that, just builds your offensive line. And what was the Raiders' biggest weakness besides quarterback? It was the offensive line. Building that offensive line with the guy from the Baltimore's that we got. He's going to play center. Linderbaum. You're going to put this guy Zune at guard. You've just already extended your offensive line. That's going to help Genty. That's going to help a rookie quarterback. Or if you're playing Captain Kirk, whatever. It's going to give your guys time. And then I think two of the biggest other pieces I'll touch on. Fourth round pick, arguably when he was healthy, he was compared to be the top prospect at cornerback, right up there with Mansour Delane, and that's Jermod McCoy, cornerback out of Tennessee, rating an 89.07 to get that in the fourth round. Average draft position that they had him at was 16 overall. Got him at the 101st pick. That is a home run. And I know he fell because of injury concerns. And we've seen this a lot of times where people shy away from different sort of injuries. I'm pretty sure the Cardinals drafted a cornerback last year who was supposed to be one of the top cornerbacks, and he fell because of injury, and he jumped right in week one. They're saying this McCoy guy, he looks good to the Raiders, so I mean, it's worth a shot right there. Getting combine comparisons to Stephon Gilmore, so I will take that. And then another fourth round pick, complimentary running back, Mike Washington Jr. out of Arkansas was a dog. He arguably could have been the second running back taken in this draft, and they had him. PFSN has him ranked as an 83. Average draft position 88. He went at 122, getting his combine numbers compared to Adrian Peterson and Darren McFadden. So when you're putting up athleticism comparisons to that, to those two guys who, I mean, Adrian Peterson is a first ballot Hall of Famer, and Darren McFadden was a dog coming out of college and didn't really hit the mark in the NFL, but he showed glimpses. And I think in Kubiak's new system, he ran two running backs for the Seahawks, right?
Mhm.
So I think you you're gonna do that. He said he wanted to build that in Las Vegas. So Ashton Genty was electric when he had room to run, and us building the offensive line is only going to improve that. And I think that takes the pressure off of Genty, and that's going to take the pressure off if you're going to start Mendoza or Cousins to have a solid running game behind you to kind of grind down defenses. I I don't see anywhere where the Raiders didn't have an A draft grade. Um so I mean to my other chart that I pulled up, um the Raiders, they ranked number 2 overall amongst all of the major sports draft grades, and that's NFL.com, CBS Sports, ESPN, USA Today, PFF, Fox Sports, Sports Illustrated, Bleacher Report. They had the number 2 GPA for draft grades according to that average. So their average was an A.
Okay.
So as as a Raider fan, future's bright. A plus. A plus. A plus.
Very good. Dan, do you want to go?
Yeah. So I'll just be very transparent. I used good old Microsoft 365 Copilot to do a very unbiased grading of all three of our teams. And these grades reflect value, fit, role, medical risk, roster context, and long-term impact. So for the Raiders, Raiders class is one of the strongest in the league when evaluated holistically, and holistically because they secured their franchise quarterback in Fernando Mendoza. who brings elite accuracy, decision making, and red zone dominance. 27 touchdowns, 0 interceptions in the red zone in his career
Ooh,
in college football.
that's huge. I didn't realize that.
Yeah,
So that's monster.
yeah. So, um, really, really good to see during rookie OTAs that he was leading the team in the huddle and breaking it down. That's kind of what I was looking to see right away from him, and didn't disappoint. I mean, he's the face of the franchise right now, already, and I don't even think there's a question about that. uh, yeah, and then the secondary, rebuilt with some premium talent. As you said, Stooks, you know, didn't know a lot about Stooks going into the draft, we'll admit. And then after they made that pick, did some research, and dude might be a really good player for them at safety. Really physical, really good, value in the back end for them there. And then round 4, like you said, Jermod McCoy. Nobody, nobody's questioning the talent. He absolutely would have been a first round pick had it not been for the medical. The medical is concerning, though. The medical says that he might have a degenerative issue in his knee. Um, we'll see how long he'll be able to sustain excellence in the NFL. I do believe that as long as he's healthy, he will be excellent in the NFL. The explosive skill position additions that, like you mentioned, Washington Jr., I think he could play right now. Um, Benson, the wide receiver, adds speed and playmaking. Um, the Raiders' wide receiver room is pretty bare.
It's wide
So
open.
it's
Wide
wide
open.
open, and there's no reason why this guy can't grab a foothold right away and, give Mendoza another option there. I expect this to be a ground and pound team with this new identity under Kubiak. And that's why I do believe you're right. They are going to rotate these running backs. It's going to be ground and pound. It's going to be play action. It's going to be tight end centric. Um, that's exciting. And then, yeah, the depth with upside at edge with Crawford and the defensive tackle Cleveland. Overall, accuracy, versatility, and athleticism with multiple instant contributors and long-term starters. A plus. A plus draft for the Raiders. It's as good as you can do in a draft when you were as poor a team as you were last year, looking to get better. You combine that with what they did in free agency, where a lot of people are going to say they overpaid here, listen, they needed players in there. So when you have $200 million in cap space or whatever the heck you had, I mean, you just go get the players you need. This is a new regime. You got to hit the ground running. It's not like the old days where you get 5 years to build the team. You got to hit the ground running. Um, I'd be surprised at this point if it isn't Mendoza as the starter. I'd just be surprised. Um,
His team.
it looks like it's his team already. It's built around the same kind of identity that Indiana had, which is key for him. And I really love the direction that they're going. The problem this year, I'm not saying that they can't be good, but the problem this year is that they're lacking talent on the outside, and defenses are going to stack. Defenses are going to stack, and unless they get really, really good production in the passing game out of the running backs and can really find that identity running the football this year, they're going to struggle to win a lot of games. But overall direction of the franchise, incredibly good and healthy, and you have to be absolutely thrilled.
Night and day compared to where we stood a year ago. Did a complete 180, and we talk about every off season. The and I talked about it. I screamed it that when you get your head coach and you get your quarterback of the future, it's not hard. You get those two things and then you build that. And I think I mean, I'm the most biased person on this planet, probably, but taking the unbiased out of it is just you. You got the head coach. You had a tremendous free agency, and I wish Ray was here because he's a bunch of C plus players on defense. No, they overhauled the defense in free agency, and in the draft, they smashed a game 7 grand slam to win the World Series. Um, and just built on the defense even more. And oh, by the way, Max Crosby is still a Las Vegas Raider, just in case anyone forgot that he was traded for a cup of coffee in Baltimore and said, "Oh, fuck this." And thank you, Baltimore. Thank you, Baltimore. From the bottom of my heart.
It's looking very fortunate in that way right now. There's no reason to believe that the defense can't turn it around quicker than the offense at this point,
It's
being
built
that they
that, and it's
retained
built
him.
that way. Yeah. I wholeheartedly agree on that. I think, and Max Crosby playing, you have a Max Crosby talent playing with a chip on his shoulder. I Defensive player of the year loading. And like I said, when the Raiders drafted Derek Carr, they had um the guy from the Texans, Matt Schaub was supposed to be, he was brought in to be their number one. And in camp, we found out quickly that Derek Carr was the guy, and they started him. And I'm saying it right now. And Cousins was signed to the Raiders already knowing the fact that you're here to better Fernando Mendoza because he's our future.
You're here to grow the legend of your agent.
Yeah, you're here to get some guaranteed dollars. And you know what? You're going to be here for a year and you're going to hold a clipboard mighty nice. And next year, you're going to go get some guaranteed dollars somewhere else.
Now I know we have to get to Zach's grade for the Raiders, but I will say I was I was fit to be tied during this draft because all I kept seeing every single hour of every single day of this draft was LOL Jets, LOL. I got so mad to the point where I wanted to come in here forever like guns blazing, like screw every other fan base, screw every other team.
uh,
Now I can't I can't bring that kind of energy realistically to a podcast and have people like take, if I want to be taken seriously. But I really felt like coming on here like WWE style and
Oh,
just
listen, I was here for your
purposely
heel turn.
No, Dan was full blown heel last week. It was so
I,
amazing.
I, I, I was fit to be tied last
Oh,
week. But
listen,
anyway, I can still turn back into that at any moment. So
listen.
that was a warning. That was a shot across the back. Warning shot to all
For
other teams and fan bases.
Dana was
With
going
that being
Hulk
said,
Hogan NWO right there. Uh,
but go
Zach,
ahead, Zach.
so what's your take on the Las Vegas Raiders?
Well, very similar to Dan. I had AI help me a little bit. I know he used Microsoft Copilot. I'm actually on the NFL's official website where they have their own AI called NFL IQ, where they have grades for every single player, grades for the teams, next gen stats, grades and scores. So I did my homework for this one for you boys. For the Raiders here, they have where do I got the Raiders? So the Raiders ranked number one. I'm sorry. The Raiders ranked the number six in next gen stat grade with a 75.2. They ranked ninth in total productive draft grade, and they ranked third in total athletic draft grade for the athleticism level of their prospects. The class lives and dies with Fernando Mendoza at number one. While his traits don't necessarily pop off the tape, he's a big, tough, accurate passer who just led Indiana to a national championship and won the Heisman Trophy. He's viewed as a solid fit in Clint Kubiak's offense. Beyond Mendoza, Las Vegas filled a bunch of needs with intriguing prospects, though the one knock was the lack of investment in Mendoza's pass catching group, which I kind of agree with. The team needs were quarterback, offensive line, wide receiver, cornerback, and defensive line. The quarterback and offensive line, those positions are deemed done, filled. Wide receiver and defensive line is still considered a need. They are still weak in those areas. Cornerback has been considered addressed. The favorite pick was Traden Stukes at number 38 with a blazing speed of 4.33. Had first round chatter, but he has a really good skill set to be in that defense. NFL IQ sleeper pick for them is Jermod McCoy. He's considered a top 10 talent, but he slid to a possible degenerative knee issue that may only limit his career to about 4 to 5 years. So if he could be really good for those 4 or 5 years, then, that's a good pick for the Raiders. And either way, it was only a fourth rounder. It's not super high capital for him. NFL IQ ranked the Raiders as the fourth best draft out of the entire league, giving them an A minus. I kind of agree. The Raiders, just the fourth best draft in the whole league via my metric here. They did everything right. You kind of wish they got a pass catcher for Fernando, but, obviously they probably feel comfortable enough with him throwing to Brock, him giving the ball off to Ashton Genty. I do agree with Dan. They're probably going to stack the box a little bit until they can get a real legit outside threat, because I love Brock Bowers. You still need that X-type wide receiver. But I think the Raiders did great. I think the Raiders pretty much did what you needed to do in this first year of this new regime. And I think phase two will be to try to get those pass catchers. I don't really know how many points they're going to score, but they did invest in the offensive line to protect Fernando. They did, they addressed the most important position in sports. So for that, the Raiders get an A minus out of me.
Yeah, this is the identity year, right? This is where the coaching staff goes in there, the quarterback goes in there, and this is the new identity of the team going forward. So yeah, you might not have the big plays on the outside, but this is going to be tough in the trenches. We're going to try to beat you in a wrestling match, 12 rounds. That's how they're going to try to win games this year. Now, we'll see what kind of special teams work they did. That's always the outlier that nobody thinks about. They have to have big time improvement out of the special teams as well if they're going to see a real jump from from just a team that might be able to run the ball and cover a little bit on the back end and rush the passer.
Yeah, I agree. And to the wide receiver, I was surprised that they didn't invest early in a wide receiver, but I guess, they got the Benson guy later on in the draft, big guy, quick. Trey Tucker, he was consistent for us last year. He added Jalen Naylor from Minnesota, who was basically behind Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison for those years. So given the time, you don't know what you have in him. Jack
That's fair.
Besh was a second round draft pick last year who didn't get much run with Pete Carroll, but that offense was abysmal last year. So year two could be a breakout for him. He's a big body guy. Then you got the other guy. It was a fourth round pick last year. He's like 6'3" and runs a 4.340. DeAndre Thornton Jr. This is year two for him. Maybe something clicks for those guys. You don't know. So I'll hold out. I'll hold out on the wide receiver right now. Bowers is a dog in a unit, and I still think there's room for a veteran wide receiver, and I wouldn't be surprised if somebody like Juwan Jennings or Debo Samuel maybe, or dare I say Tyreek Hill, but it's it's open. So I think that's probably, besides quarterback, the wide receiver competition is going to be very, very fierce, I think, for the Raiders, just because there's so many unknowns, and it'll be fun to see who steps up in that spot. So
Yeah. Yeah, I think the only knock I would give on the Raiders is they only had one. Well, it's not really a knock because they had one major value pick according to Next Gen Stats, and that was the Jermod McCoy pick at in the fourth round. So yeah, I think the Raiders did well. So next we could go on to the Jets as they pick second overall. Dan, we're obviously I'm going to let you take the lead with this one.
floor is yours, dog.
Yeah, so I mean, Copilot gives it an A. Very strong at the top, fills multiple long-term needs. Bailey, high ceiling pass rusher, high floor pass rusher, most productive pass rusher in college football last year, most highest pressure rate in college football last year. Totally fits their scheme, as I said. Really can't argue with it. And after hearing him interview a couple of times, I really, really like the person. Um, I think that's important when you're picked that high. So, I mean, we'll see. I mean, it is one of those positions that it could go either way. If you're going to knock the player at all, you could say, oh, well, he has shoddy run defense, and that's fine. That is also a big reason why they brought back the defensive line coach that they used to have when they had Wilkerson and Sheldon Richardson. What's his name? He was with the Steelers, but really, really, really good in developing defensive linemen as far as playing the run. So for whatever Bailey lacks, I think that he could absolutely gain with that. So I love the pick. Can't argue with the pick. I think he's the best pass rusher in the draft. Then at 16, we had staring at a couple of receivers there, right? Staring at Mekhi Lemon, and staring at Omar Cooper Jr. and thought for sure it was going to be one of those players. And they surprised every Jet fan was shocked when they picked Kenyon Sadiq, and kind of took some time for that one to set in. But what does Frank Reich do on offense? Frank Reich is a 12 personnel offensive system guy and play caller. It is not a tight end one offense. It is a two tight end offense, and now they have two of them. Kenyon Sadiq, really, really, really good blocker on top of the freak athlete that he is, that they could literally put him all over the field. There really isn't a place on the field that you can't put him where he can't end up being productive because of all of his athletic traits. So with that, figured, okay, pretty good first round. We secured our pass rusher that we've been lacking. We were 31st in the NFL in pass rushing last year, and got the second tight end that we need to run Frank Reich's offense and just keep adding pass catchers to an offense that hopefully eventually we'll have a franchise quarterback behind running it. And then before the round is over, pick 30, I see we're trading with the San Francisco 49ers at 30, right in front of the Buffalo Bills, who had just moved back. And I'm thinking, why would they move back when they need a wide receiver? Well, we jumped them, take Omar Cooper Jr., who, I love this kid. I mean, he is tough as nails. He is like, he's not the sexy pick at wide receiver that you see on a year-to-year basis, but he's that tough dude.
He's consistent.
He's consistent. I like receivers that like to block, play in cold weather. This dude checks all those boxes. He seems pretty smart too. Love the pick. And then really the icing on the cake was a pick later to see the Bills trade back again,
So
and
you got their guy.
Rich Cimini, one of the Jets beat reporters, confirmed that Muji jumped Brandon Beane for Omar Cooper Jr. And that makes me horny because that's usually we're at that end of the joke where we're the team that gets jumped by the Steelers and the Patriots and whoever else in the NFL you want to name for really good players. We're usually on that end of the joke. I think they made a really, really good decision. Gotta credit Muji. This has got Muji's name all over it. Says Kenyon Sadiq pick was Frank Reich's selection. They gave that one to Frank. They said, "You want Mekhi Lemon, one of these other receivers here, or you want Sadiq?" He said, "Give me Sadiq." So they gave him that one. Bailey was probably a combination of Muji and Glenn, and then in the second round, got another guy out of Indiana, D'Angelo Pons. Love these
Oh,
Indiana cats. They interviewed Kenyon Sadiq. They interviewed a lot of the top receivers in college football that played against D'Angelo Pons this year, and they said he was the toughest corner that they played against last year in college football. He's 5'9". He's undersized. That's the reason he went late in the second or went in the second round to begin with. He would have been a first round pick. Does not have the traits of like a Jermod McCoy, but has the toughness, the physicality, the smarts, the will, the drive, the heart, all the kind of things that you're looking for in a player in that position. And really, really looks like Aaron Glenn on the football field. Kind of funny. It's like an Aaron Glenn clone. So now you're going to have this dude coaching you. That's a little intriguing to me. And then the one pick you really question if you want. But when you take a step back and you look at this kid, interesting. So Cade Klubnik out of Clemson. Clemson had a terrible year last year, all the way up and down. Klubnik was not good either. But if you had if you were planning on this draft at the end of 2024, Cade Klubnik was one of those names that you were saying could be a first round pick based on how he played in 24. He's a 5-star recruit at a Westlake High School right down the road from here. Guess who else? There were two other players who were 5-star recruits at a Westlake High School right down the road from here. Drew Brees and Nick Foles. And I'll take a fraction of that success out of a guy who could end up being the long-term backup quarterback of this team. I like it. So yeah, you could say, okay, fourth round, maybe not the best spot for your backup quarterback, but as long as he's the backup quarterback, I'm good with it. I'm good with it. Let him sit, let him develop, and we'll see what we have out of him eventually. And then later on, fifth, sixth round, we didn't have a seventh round pick. Inez Cooper out of Miami. Depth at guard, guy who could play in a phone booth, extremely strong. You talk to any of his Miami teammates, yeah, a lot of them talked about Maga, but a lot of them talked about Cooper and his toughness and the road grading ability on the inside. He's a true guard, and he's a monster with impressive traits and a lot of strength. VJ Payne, who they took in the seventh round after trading one of their sixth, trading back. Didn't know anything about this guy. Apparently, he is all NFL traits, a guy who could absolutely develop into a good back end safety and who fills a need at special teams. So overall, a foundational class with multiple starters, and I could argue absolutely zero wasted picks, right? Because if you looked at the needs going into this draft, quarterback was one, receiver was one, offensive lineman was one, pass rusher was one, safety was one, cornerback may have been one. Not high on my list because the room is actually kind of deep at cornerback, but this Pons kid might start. So overall, I give it an A. And then, when you look at Orville Reese, a lot of people have projected that to be the pick early on. And then Samini, who's been covering the Jets for 30 years, flipped a week before the draft and said Bailey in a mock draft, and that got everybody's attention. And then during the draft, when we saw Robert Sala's Titans at 4 pass on Orville Reese. I mean, that's normally a player like if he was projected to be a very high end pass rusher, I think would have been the pick there instead of Cornell Tate, in my opinion. But now we learn that Reese is probably better projected, at least in the short term, to be an off ball linebacker. So with that said, I think really, really, really exciting class, and it's tough to poke holes in it. I mean, and I try to poke holes wherever I can. It's tough to poke holes in it.
Pretty good.
Pretty
So,
good.
I'll go next on this one. The Jets had a phenomenal draft. I'm going to put it out there right now, based on all the research I have done, via all the scores, via everything. The Jets had the best draft in the league. I don't care what anyone else really says. The Jets ranked first in next gen stat draft score. They ranked first in productive draft score. They did rank 13th in total athletic draft score. I give them an A plus. Team needs going into the draft: quarterback, offensive line, corner, wide receiver, edge. Cornerback, wide receiver, and edge have all been addressed. They considered those positions done and taken care of. Offensive line is still considered a need, a little bit for the interior. Quarterback has been considered addressed with Geno Smith and the draft pick of Cade Klubnik. And as a little tidbit for Jets fans who are Bill Parcells guys, he fits every single thing that Bill Parcells says is a good franchise quarterback. Just saying, just a little nugget in there. Kenyon Sadiq, probably my favorite pick. He had a 99 athletic score out of 100, the highest in the entire class. 93 overall grade. This tight end was made in the laboratory. The only weakness that he has is he's not a super great blocker, but I don't think he's going to be there really to block for that offense. I think he's going to try to just bully linebackers in the passing game. David Bailey, obviously the best edge rusher in the game, number 4 overall player, got taken at number 2. Kenyon Sadiq was the number 14 overall player. They took him at 15, or 16, I'm sorry. So that's still really good value. The best value pick considered by the AI was actually Omar Cooper Jr. at 30. His player rank, overall player rank, was actually 17. The Jets took him at 30. And the other really good value pick is D'Angelo Pons. Took him at 50. All really good green above average scores for him for athletic production, overall grade. I think the Jets did great. I think I've said it before and I'll say it again. I think they have one of the better GMs in football. He really, really knocked it out of the park. For all the Jets fans screaming for Arch Manning, I don't think you guys are getting Arch Manning, because I don't think they're going to be bad enough next year to get Arch Manning.
Well, everybody keeps forgetting that we have 3 first-round picks, and it's not all predicated on how we finish as a team.
That's also true. Completely depends upon, obviously, a couple of other things. But the quarterback draft class next year is deep. But I mean, this team is not the worst team in the NFL anymore. This team is definitely better than teams like the Dolphins, teams like the Cardinals, a couple other teams like that I could see right off the bat here. So this team is obviously majorly improved via this offseason with the draft. Obviously, the big question mark is, can this coaching staff put all the pieces together that the GM has put into place? That's really obviously the main concern, the main thing. Not really, that's always going to be the big what if. But in terms of their draft grade by themselves, the AI has it ranked 5th out of 32 behind the Raiders. I don't agree with that. I think they should be number 1, and a couple other teams and a couple other sources do have them on number 1. So I'm going to put the Jets number 1. I'm going to give them an A plus overall grade. Gangrene did work.
I like it. I like NFL IQ.
And well, if you like NFL IQ, then you'll love P. Schmitty's IQ because I too gave the New York Football Jets an A plus right there because first of all, I just want to say that when you smash three first round picks, you're getting an A plus. And the Jets came into this draft needing a lot of help, as did a lot of teams. But I mean, pre-draft great needs that I had the Jets going for: quarterback, wide receiver, edge, cornerback, linebacker. Um, so second overall pick, edge rusher David Bailey. He scored PFSN, had him at an 88.7. Average draft position 6.9. So you got him at number two. Um, Combine comparisons: Jared Verse, Brian Burns, Kevin Burnett. So those it's terrible to be compared to those guys. Immediately going to be a day one playmaker for the Jets, and that's why they took him. He was edge ready and dog, dog. Now 16th overall pick. I had flashbacks. I had flashbacks of the Raiders selecting Brock Bowers because at that time, the year previous, what did the Raiders do in the second round? We drafted Michael Mayer, tight end out of Notre Dame. I was like, Brock Bauer, tight end, first round. What are we doing? It's a luxury pick, right? Oh, we don't. Brock Bowers is the best tight end in football. Well, guess what? Kenyon Sadiq is a freak. He is a freak athlete, and he is, according to NFL.com, I did the comparisons. Yeah, he had the 99 athleticism grade because I wanted to compare him to Brock Bauer. I was like, how does he compare? And they compare basically, they're the same size. He moves quicker than him. They had Bauer's production higher than his, but overall, I think Bowers is like rated a 94 compared to a 93 to Sadiq. They're they're 1A, 1B of a tight end product. You can't get anything better than that. He was a number one tight end. He was an 87.9. Average draft position was at 19. You got him at 16. That's uh
Get your guy.
boom.
Get your guy.
It's a luxury pick, but that's a great luxury to have, and it's only going to make your future quarterback a happy man. He had combine comparisons to Vernon Davis, and if Vernon Davis didn't get injured, he would have been a monster. So
He had some really good years with the Niners
he,
anyway, Vernon Davis.
later on in his career, he put together a very good career. But injuries early took it out of him.
Yeah.
But he was built like a freak, and he was supposed to be the next greatest thing, and he could have been if healthy. My favorite pick, um, one of my favorite picks for the Jets was number 30, trading up into the first round to get Omar Cooper Jr., rated 86.8, average draft position 27. You got him at 30. That's a home run. Everything that you said about him being a grinder and a dog, and he brings all of that to the wide receiver position. I was hoping when I saw him trickling down, I was hoping the Raiders did the same exact thing and hop in because to pair him back with Fernando would have been huge, I thought. But Jets get that dog wide receiver opposite of Garrett Wilson. You get the fifth year option too. Love that. second second round, 50th overall, number 3 ranked cornerback according to PFSN, 88.9. D'Angelo Ponce, I don't care if he's 5'8", 5'9", just
Oh,
a dog, a killer. People hate playing against him. He makes you work for it, and I love the fact that Aaron Glenn took this pick because, like you said, it's almost a mirror image of him, and that his Ponce's growth is only going to be accentuated because of that, I think. Um, Fourth round defensive tackle Darrell Jackson Jr., pick 103. He was rated 81.8. Um, he had combine comparisons to Leonard Williams. So
I didn't
I,
even mention him. He's a project player.
yeah, I looked at him because I Raiders need help on the defensive tackle line. I thought if he was available later that he could have been an addition. I mean, we went Jermod McCoy with that pick, so I can't hate
You
that. So,
can't hate that pick.
um, and then you also had another fourth round pick out, pick 110, um, number 3 rated quarterback in the draft, according to PFSN, a 77.4, Cade Klubnik. I love the pick.
That might be something, man.
His so two things, right? You take him with the fourth round pick, he potentially would have been a first round pick a year before that.
Sure.
We all know that Geno Smith is not long for the world of the New York Jets. He's not going to be your quarterback of the future. However, Cade Klubnik sitting behind him with a clipboard, taking it in. At some point, I feel like Cade Klubnik is going to be the starter for the Jets, and that's fine. See, he'll be tested, and that's fine because his combine comps, Mark Bulger and Zach. I don't know if you probably
That's a little before you started
you're
following, I
you're
think.
you're too young to remember Mark Bulger, but
I know the name.
he came in after Kurt Warner in for
The
Saint
Rams.
for the Rams, and he
He
was
was good.
solid. He was good.
He
He put
ran that greatest show on turf for a little while.
he did, and you know what? If Cade Klubnik could be, who knows? Crazier shit has happened, right?
He's
If
an athlete. I don't know if you guys have seen any of his game. This dude could run and move around and he's got
so,
pocket awareness.
that's what I'm. Worst case scenario, you have a solid backup because I think he could be that.
Yeah.
On the flip side of that, you could have stepped in shit in the fourth round and you could have a starter. You don't know.
Maybe.
And it's worth a roll of the dice, and you needed the quarterback anyway. Why you took the third best quarterback in the draft? Not hating that. Sixth round, Inez Cooper, guard. I looked at some of his stuff, rated 77.9. I like the pick. Helps the offensive line. I think what the Jets did, and then you got BJ Payne. He was rated 78.3. I mean,
Special teams player.
average draft position for him was 144 according to them. You got him at 228. So value, value. Your team added at worst 4 starters.
4 starters.
At worst,
I agree.
with the potential of a future backup quarterback. Not hating that at all. Like Zach, to Zach's note, your draft pick the Jets draft pick next year is not going to put them in position for Arch Manning.
No.
To your point, you have two other first rounders that have potential to package that up and shoot a hoop for the Longhorn. So,
The Colts.
so just down at HEB land, yeehaw, hook 'em horns still in play to don the green jersey. So with that said, I will go to the to my chart here. Average for the New York Jets, they were fourth in overall draft grade, and that's according NFL.com, CBS Sports, ESPN, Sports Illustrated. They had you ranked at number 4 with an average GPA. They were going by a 3.62 out of 4. So smashed the draft again. Your boy P. Schmitty gives you the A+. So
I think I graded them the lowest out of all three of us with an A.
Yes, you did. I think you lowballed your own team.
Mm-hmm.
So with that, we will move on next to the draft, which was the Giants. They had 2 first-round picks going into this draft, thanks to Dexter Lawrence being shipped off to Cincinnati, and Cincinnati giving us the 10th overall pick. So it completely changed the dynamic of this Giants draft. To pretty much go over their scores here real quick via the Next Gen Stats, NFL.com. Giants ranked had the 10th overall draft via Next Gen Stats. They had the 17th most productive draft. 17th athletic grade, 19th productive grade. They are the only team to have a high value pick for round 1 and round 2. They are right behind the Jets in terms of the CMU blue chip draft capital ranking. Jets ranked number 1 with their class. Giants actually ranked number 2 with their blue chip capital. Obviously, this draft is headlined by their 2 first round picks, right? The Arvell Reese ranked the 5th overall player in the draft. They got him right at 5. A lot of people thought he was in play at number 2, number 3. A lot of people were shocked that Robert Saleh didn't take him at 4 and kind of let Daboll take Carnell Tate at 4, who wasn't even really the best wide receiver. So I think them taking Tate kind of threw everything for a loop. Giants just ran the card up for Arvell Reese at number 5. And then at number 10, Francis McGuire, the number 1 rated offensive lineman via Daniel Jeremiah, number 10 overall player. They got him at number 10. So they got equal value for both players at their exact same draft spots. The favorite high value pick that they got was Colton Hood, cornerback out of Tennessee. He was a number 21 rated player on the board. They got him at 60. So that's probably their best value draft pick of their whole class. Probably is the number 2 corner right away because that room definitely needed some huge upgrades. The team needs going into the draft via free agency, wide receiver, offensive line, corner, linebacker, defensive line. Wide receiver is considered addressed, not necessarily filled. They did take Malachi Fields, wide receiver, in the 3rd round, 74th overall, after trading up a couple of picks to move up. He was Daniel Jeremiah's number 60 overall player. It took him at 74. Big body, very, very, had the highest catch percentage of 50-50 balls at Notre Dame. The only knock is he is slow, 4.61 40-yard dash. Coaches believe his game speed's higher than that, but the 40-yard dash definitely hurt his draft stock here, considered the number 8 overall wide receiver in the draft. Pro comp is Michael Pittman. Will never really be a star, might be a productive wide receiver too. John Harbaugh is not happy with Darius Slayton leading the league in drops last year. So I think that's probably why they got major incentive to go get this kid. Obviously, this is the one draft pick that a lot of Giants fans are kind of torn of. We don't know. It's the one that carries the most risk because he could either end up being wide receiver 2 or 3, or he ends up being wide receiver 4 or 5. We'll have to see as his playing career continues. In terms of the offensive line, it's considered the need filled with McGuire filling in at right guard, bringing back Jermaine Illuminor. And they also took tackle J.C. Davis in the sixth, who is just a mountain of a man, 6'9". This draft class had John Harbaugh just written all over it. I mean, size upon size upon size. John Harbaugh wants a big, nasty bully, as his quote was from Patrick Ricard in his latest interview. Cornerback, they considered that position filled. I think they could use another one. Losing Flott sucks, but they do have Greg Newsome in the room still, and I'm very high on Colton Hood. The linebacker room was considered a need that's considered filled now with Edmonds and Arvell Reese going to be their off-ball linebacker for right now. McGuire and Reese, the other caveat that they have here is they're both 20 years old. They're incredibly young. They can't even drink yet. So when when his contract is up in 3 years and they need a right tackle, they move McGuire to right tackle, and at the prime age of 23. When they want Reese, if they want Reese to rush the passer on plays that Abdul Carter's not in, he can do that. One of the highest rated pass rushers in the league, and he did it part-time. I mean, Arvell Reese is a freak. This is a total freak at linebacker. All of a sudden, the weakness has become a strength there for the Giants. The main weakness that has not been addressed is the defensive line. They did assign DJ Reader. I'm sorry, not DJ Reader, Shelby Harris. They are in talks with DJ Reader. They're probably going to try to replace Dexter Lawrence in the aggregate at defensive tackle. The defensive line, Harbaugh wants to stop the run, and I think, Arvell Reese definitely helps. Colton Hood was a really good run stopper as a corner as well. But that defensive line is going to be an issue, unless they could get a couple of veterans here that are decent at stopping the run. The Giants ranked 32nd in the league last year against the run, allowing 5.6 yards per carry. That's going to be a weakness again because they're going to be able to lock people down in the linebacker area, intermediate and deep part of the field. They're going to have, they're going to run. It's going to be the same game plan, I think, this year too. Run the ball on the Giants. You're not going to be able to throw it really well, and hope your offensive line is good enough because your quarterback's going to get sacked a lot. But they gave the Giants an A-. I'm kind of lean towards an A-, maybe even a B+. They just didn't really have a whole lot of picks in this draft, but it's all about John Harbaugh, right? It's all about John Harbaugh, what his vision is of this team, how he wants to turn this team into. But I'll go ahead with the AI and the other, NFL.com, CBS, they have them routinely ranked in the top 5, usually 3, 4, and 5. So I'll give them an A-. They have him here at number 5. So that's what I got for the Giants.
All right. Dan, you want to go?
Yeah, sure. So very similar situation to the Raiders, where you got the new coach, and the coach is trying to establish his identity. So overall, very good class. Top heavy, like you said, not a lot of picks, but yeah, they had Arvell Reese, who fell to them at 5. High-end defender with elite versatility. Rookie role, a bit unclear just because of the position uncertainty, but statements have been made that he's going to play off-ball linebacker. I do find it interesting that they were shopping, even though they said they weren't, but we found out later they were shopping Kayvon Thibodeau. They were in talks with the Saints. Saints did not want to match what the Giants were asking for. So interesting that if that trade had gone through, we may be talking about Arvell Reese being a full-time edge player. With that not being the case yet, I think the fallback is off-ball linebacker with a guy who has the youth and the versatility to just be able to play anywhere on the front seven, pretty much besides defensive tackle, nose and three technique and five technique. Um, they used they used Arvell Reese pretty much as an off-ball linebacker at Ohio State. Like you said, Zach, he didn't have a lot of reps rushing the passer, but when he did, he was very good. And he's 20 years old, so there's a lot of room for improvement, and we are talking about an absolute freak of an athlete. Francis Malaga. Side note, before I forget, the Jets took his brother last year, later in the draft. He's a linebacker for the Jets, so we got the two brothers playing in the same town.
New York family pedigree right
New
there.
York family going on right there.
Listen, just draft Samoans and you're going to be fine.
Amazing because of the position versatility. Another guy in the top 10 with positional versatility, who could play guard, who could play tackle, who's very young, like Zach said, immediate starter at guard, all pro potential at guard, much higher potential at guard than tackle. So, yes, I can see him transitioning to tackle later on, but if he's that good at guard,
he won't move then.
Just leave him be.
Yeah, leave him be.
There is a medical with him. There is a back issue, which introduced a tiny bit of risk. They obviously cleared him. They obviously don't think that it's a long-term issue.
I have a side note for that real quick. I don't mean to interrupt you.
Go ahead.
So the Giants' new head athletic trainer was Miami's athletic trainer.
So he knows.
So he knows him like the back of his hand. So the Giants felt comfortable with his back issue because they have his athletic trainer now as their athletic trainer. So
and that explains a lot and is very fair. So they cleared the medical. He's the immediate plug and play starter at guard. The Giants simply cannot add enough interior pieces to both sides of their line right now. So this was a great pick in that aspect. Colton Hood, probably my favorite pick that they made in the draft because of where they got him. He's a sticky, physical corner with shutdown traits. Literally allowed 0 touchdowns in the SEC last year on 72 targets. I mean, that's insane. That's an insane stat line for where he played last year in college football.
Yeah.
So
I'm amazed he went in the second. That's just crazy.
It's actually really crazy. He could end up being one of these surprise players later on that we talk about. Really, really, really love that pick. Malachi Fields kind of fills this physical John Harbaugh style blueprint at wide receiver, this power forward wide receiver role. Speed and separation concerns are real. He's going to have to be a very good 50-50 catch guy in the NFL. Otherwise, it's rare that we see players who look like this succeed at a high level as either a number 1 or number 2 receiver. But even just as a depth piece, the Giants and the Giants fan base, I'm sure, is not very happy overall with where the wide receiver room is at. I think it's a little bit better than Giants fans give it credit for. I could see him being anywhere from wide receiver 3, maybe 2, if he really, really shows that improvement in separation ability and route running and 50-50 catches at the next level. But probably somewhere between wide receiver 3 and wide receiver 6 on the team right away. And then next, Jamison Travis. So like you said, kind of filling the Dexter Lawrence gap that has been left with the trade, kind of in the aggregate, just with a prospect, right? I mean, we don't really know what this kid is. He might be really good.
They also still have Darius Alexander, who was a high pick for them last year, who they
Right,
are high on. So, but
right.
because we don't know.
So it's a young room. Besides the, Shelby Harris, who they just signed, it's a young room. People are gonna be able to step up and take jobs. That's there for the taking. So we'll see what happens there. Davis and Kelly, they just fit Harbaugh's big physical. It's like you said, Zach. The idea is to off the bus, we want to be in the imposing team that people look at and go, oh, okay, yeah, that's a little. That's not like the Giants from 2 years ago. That might be a little bit more serious. So
Harbaugh wants Giants for Giants.
yeah. So you know, they're developmental picks, but it still definitely brings into shape the overall focus and identity that Harbaugh wants to instill this year. So a physical, versatile class that totally fits the blueprint of where this regime is trying to go with them. Um, Probably lacks the clean value and star certainty of like the Raiders Hall, but absolutely cannot argue with what they did as far as the fit with the identity going forward and the type of athletes and the type of athletes that they took and the youth that they have. So my final grade on this really good class with two picks in the top 10 was a B plus. Um, I thought they did really good. I thought it was super solid. You know, maybe nothing extra sexy, but that's not really what John Harbaugh is, right? And that's you're not going to ever be banking on that when it comes to him and where he's going to take the Giants.
Yeah, I agree, Dan. And then I too, I had them at a B plus. Um, I think just from standpoint of identity and physicality, um, again, just recycling what you said about it fits the bill with Harbaugh. I had them going into the draft, needs at D tackle, O line, cornerback, linebacker, wide receiver. So there's still a lot of holes to fill. Two top 10 picks, fifth overall linebacker, edge rusher. Ohio State arguably was considered the the top tier player in the draft. Um, Arvel Reese, um, graded the highest at PFSN, 91.6. Number one linebacker in this draft. Average draft position was a 3.2. You got him at 5. It's a monster swing. It's a home run. He's going to start day one and change that linebacking core. He's going to be a dog for the New York Football Giants. And then getting that sexy Dexy trade pick, 10th overall. You got the number one offensive tackle ranked on PFSN. 88.9 was his rating. Francis Muaga. Um, Average draft position 8. You got him at 10. It's another monster swing. Like you said, you start him day one at guard. He could be an all pro guard. And you don't even have to think about switching him back to tackle, but that option's there. Um, Protecting um, Jackson Dart he's your key asset on that team.
Protecting Jackson Dart was more important than a safety. That's all I'm going to say.
Um, that guy is a Samoan monster. So, when in doubt, draft a Samoan. That bloodline runs deep. Um,
I
then
acknowledge Francis Muaga.
once to the sky.
Ones to the sky.
37th overall, Colton Hood, first round talent, monster out of Tennessee. an 85.6 rated. Um, Average draft position 29. In my mock, I had the Miami Dolphins taking him at the end of round one. You got him at 37. So value there, monster value. He will be a game changer for you guys. I think Dan said that that was your favorite pick for the
Yeah,
Giants.
as far as value and just where he's going to fit right away on the team, I think that's
That
slam dunk pick right there.
yeah, you Giants three day one monster starters. Um 74 Malachi Fields, 76.4. Um his average draft position was at 77, so he was right there in lockstep with that, just about. Um, Combine comparisons. Devontae Adams was the name that popped up as a combine comparison. I just overall on the field more of like a Michael Pittman, but a big body guy. I think, like Dano said, 50-50 ball is going to be huge for him. You're going to need him to show up like somebody like a Vincent Jackson. Vincent
Perfect,
Jackson
perfect, perfect comp.
was a 50-50 specialist. That guy
Monster.
would dunk on cornerbacks. So I think somebody like that, especially in the red zone, could be a huge target for a dart. Um, then going down the line, you didn't really have those middle round picks, but then you jump back into the sixth round. Um, Bobby Jamison Travis out of Auburn. You took him with pick 186, defensive tackle. Then you got J.C. Davis, Illinois guard. Um, they had him ranked as the 14th best offensive tackle. So he's going to play at guard. And back in the sixth round, Jack Kelly. I like Jack Kelly just by he's one of those grinder types. I was looking at some of his stuff because I thought maybe the Raiders could sneak on a Jack Kelly maybe later on in the draft. He had a 74.28 rating. He was the 17th linebacker overall, according to PFSN. He had combine comps to Luke Kuechly. So anytime that Mr. Kuechly's name is brought up anywhere, and I don't care if it's combine or not, it's still a good comp to have. So I think all the first three draft pieces, I mean, two picks in the top 10 is just that's huge capital. And just huge game changer. I mean, we talked about Dart last year. He changed the entire atmosphere and aura of the Giants, putting somebody to block in front of him and then go another huge piece on the opposite side of the ball. Giants are already having these expectations put on them that they're going to compete in the East. And I think that everybody that wears blue um, should have that expectation, especially what's going on in Philadelphia. Um, NFC East is always a little bit of a lottery roll. Turn it a lot of turnover who comes out of the East. So I think this year is going to be another turn of that. But yeah, I'll put them at a B plus. Everybody else, I mean, on according to ESPN, um, Sports Illustrated, all of those Giants were they had the Giants ranked number three. Um, for draft overall with combined out of all of those outlets, and their GPA was a 3.68, so out of four. Giants had a Harbaugh draft, and John Harbaugh puts together a winning product. So a tip of the cap to the New York Football Giants.
In Harbaugh, we trust.
And you should. So he's a Super Bowl winner. Have
And
at it.
all the post draft reports have been really interesting too. Because there was so much talk and so much smoke of Joe Shane getting fired post draft, and the exact opposite is of that is now happening. Harbaugh is actually a fan of Joe Shane. He is happy with his partnership throughout the drafts, and Shane's probably going to get a contract extension.
Incredible,
Wild.
incredible, incredible, incredible.
Which is obviously wild. Again, everyone knows these are John Harbaugh's picks, but Harbaugh is a fan of Joe Shane's, and he likes the partnership. According to Connor Hughes and Jordan Renan, Connor Hughes, some of the best in the business. Um,
Jordan Renaud is really, really plugged in
yeah,
too.
Jordan Renan, it really is the main
Yeah.
Giants beat writer that
we
I like to listen to, and he said that Harbaugh likes Shane, so he's not going anywhere.
we had it was a death sentence for Joe Shane leading up to this draft, and everybody like if our previous podcasts we had him the we were picking out the flowers for his grave
Oh yeah.
and we
Well,
were engraving his headstone.
There were reports
clearly
coming out from the
Harbaugh,
rest of the league that he was expected to get
yeah,
fired too.
Harbaugh has clearly valued his talent for draft evaluation. So whether that be just his scouting, whether that be because obviously, his strengths have never really been free agency, as we have seen in the past. But his strengths have really have been evaluating talent in the draft. And maybe that's what his role now is with Harbaugh, and Harbaugh takes care of everything else. So
So this is kind of something that I feel like an idiot for not thinking about. And I'm saying this because we knew that when John Harbaugh was hired that and all the stuff came out with the contract and what was taking so long and all blah blah blah, the language in the contract and who he and how what the reporting structure was going to be. Well, we knew when he got hired and it was a done deal that he was the man and that this was his team and the buck stops with him. And yes, he is going to put a team of people around him and they are going to collaborate and all this kind of thing. What I didn't foresee, and I should have at least thought about, but didn't even give it a thought, was the possibility that Joe Shane, who absolutely felt the power being stripped away from him during this offseason, in many interviews, you could see it in his body language. I mean, literally like stumbling all over himself, during press conferences. What I didn't foresee is this idea that Harbaugh would be okay with that because while he might be saying some things like, like front facing, like he likes him as a partner and he likes what he does as a scout and as a talent evaluator, I think what John Harbaugh really likes is that he's not competing with anybody in that organization in terms of the power structure, which I think was a huge thing that went on in Baltimore for years and years and years. And he is making it known that he likes Joe Shane because Joe Shane at this point essentially just doesn't have any power. And it's felt like that for a long time. And what better situation to continue with just status quo? I came in, I stripped this guy. This guy was pretty much stripped bare naked right away in front of the media. We're going to keep it that way. And nobody's going to come in here to challenge me. We're not going to hire anybody of any kind of pedigree in that chair. I'm the guy. The buck stops with me. I buy the groceries. I cook the dinner. And I didn't consider that as a possibility, but regardless of everything that's being said by him right now, I think that's what's really happening behind the scenes.
And I'm sure he's happy with that. He doesn't
Yeah,
have
I'm
someone
just
in
saying.
He had someone in Baltimore in his ear constantly. And I'm sure he listens to Shane, and I'm sure he listens to whatever suggestions that he gives from the scouting
Sure.
department. But he's like, well, this is my pick. I don't give a fuck.
Well, you also have to think about it like, yeah, every team has an entire scouting department. Joe Shane is not the head scout for the New York Giants. He's the general manager by in title only. You know, the coaches and the front office staff are the ones that they're the ones that are basically fed all the info from their scouts, and that's how they make their decisions going forward. So there's no need for a new general manager. As long as the relationship is amicable and professional, and that's what Joe Shane is. Joe Shane's a professional person. Um,
He's also not stupid.
he's not stupid. He's not stupid, and I give him a lot of credit for fighting through a really tough situation. And good on him. He's going to make a bag, and he's going to stay with a really good organization that just hired a really good coach. And if the reports are true, and good on him. I
He's going to
mean,
continue cashing those New York Football Giant checks.
good on him. And then one day, down the road in 15, 20 years, when his son is a general manager and hits a franchise quarterback because they called Jaden Daniels, he's gonna point to dad and be like, dad taught me everything I know. And then Joe Shane's name is gonna be a little bit, held a little higher in regards to us than it is right now.
Listen, and speaking of GMs, man, John Spytek for the Raiders. I just clap it up one more time for him. I listened, he had a good interview with Kay Adams, and just his overall demeanor and just listening to how he takes information from everywhere else, and he doesn't try to be the smartest guy in the room. He he's the best listener in the room. And I think that, coupled with the fact of controlling the things that he can control and letting everything else around that space, not worrying about it, because you can't do anything about the things you can't control. I thought it was a great interview, and really putting together a football team. I feel like how I've wanted a football team put together the last four regimes of GMs, and it's refreshing to have that type of perspective in the building. So yeah, I will.
I think it's really cool that the consensus seems to be that all three teams did well, because history history says that all three teams, especially recent history, suggests that all three teams normally don't do very well.
Yeah.
Um,
Football's better when the Raiders, Jets, and Giants are on top of their game.
and
It was very interesting to see that. It was the four main teams that I
Ooh,
saw at pretty much everyone's.
can we talk about the Browns?
I was about to say
Because
the Browns. The Browns are pretty much the
yeah,
consensus number one team that had the best draft.
they
they
had a killer draft.
they
Six
did.
possible new starters for them.
Hang on, let me. Do you have their draft pulled up?
I can do that right now for you. If my
Because that was the other thing I wanted to touch on, the Cleveland Browns, to get everyone's thoughts on them, because
they
I
did do
mean
very well.
they historically are the
So
laugh
Spence, I'm sorry, Pete.
they're a laughing stock of the league. So I mean,
Yeah,
for them to have a ball out draft,
yeah. So they at pick nine,
that's Fano.
Spencer Fano, which a lot of people had as the best tackle who's going to play tackle. in the NFL right away. Um, he played both left and right at Utah. They got an A+ for this pick. 1 point allowed a 1.1% pressure rate, which was third of best amongst qualifying tackles last year in all of college football. And then with the 24th pick, really loved this guy. Would have been really happy with this guy too. Casey Concepcion, saw him a lot at Texas A&M. Explosive receiver, 10 touchdowns last year, kick returner, right? So Cleveland just got a player there. I mean, he upgrades the league's worst wide receiver room right away, and he upgrades one of the league's worst kick returning situations right away. So you could give that one an A. I'm going to give that one an A. High end separation, versatility, big playability. 79% of his receptions last year went for first downs. That's the best in the SEC.
Moving the chains.
And just
moving the chains.
That's so impressive. And then pick 39 in the second round, Denzel Boston. This is the guy I told you guys going into this draft, the preview pod that we did. Watch the tape. I mean, 6'4" jump ball specialist, strongly considered at pick 24. Boston gives them big-bodied wide receiver that they've been lacking forever. This is an A+. This is perfect complement to Casey Concepcion when you consider his explosiveness.
It's everything opposite of.
Yeah. This is the red zone guy. This is the contested catch weapon. 1,700 career receiving yards and 20 touchdowns at Washington. Just insanely productive player.
You don't have to worry about Jerry Jeudy.
No, he's going to be wide receiver 3, which he should be anyway. And then later on in that round, pick 58, a lot of people had this guy as a first-round talent, Emmanuel McNeil-Warren, safety out of Toledo. A versatile safety with elite production and athleticism, physical, instinctive, both against the run and the pass. Final season graded 92.1 by Pro Football Focus with elite coverage and run defense. Round 3, pick 86, Austin Barber, offensive tackle out of Florida. This is more of a developmental player with starting upside. So they possibly got 2 starting tackles in this draft. This guy being the wild card. Strong run blocking profile with positional versatility. Could play both the left and right side. Allowed just 3 sacks last year. Round 5, they got Parker Brailsford, center out of Alabama. Another versatile lineman in the interior. He played at both Washington and Alabama. Depth with the potential to be a starter. Strong pass blocking traits as an interior player. Allowed 1 sack last season. And then round 5, pick 149, Justin Jefferson, linebacker out of Alabama. Steady athletic linebacker with strong coverage grades, solid depth and special teams player. Round 5, pick 170, Joe Royer, tight end out of Cincinnati, productive receiving tight end with strong efficiency metrics, pass catching behind it. What's the tight end they have there now? I know Njoku's gone. He was pretty good. Yeah. So now they have another guy there so they had some depth. He ranked first in passer rating when targeted last year. That's all he did at the position. So overall, yeah, they're great. I mean, Sports Illustrated A+, Mel Kiper A+, PFF A+, NFL.com A-.
They were ranked on their GPA. They were number 1 based off of all the sports outlets, and their GPA was a 3.83 out of 4. So just monster draft for them, and for them to go out offensive line, 2 wide receivers, and then two picks later, another 2 offensive linemen. Um, who knows now? The only thing ownership is poking their nose in when it comes to quarterback right now because that's going to be the hot topic of the Cleveland Browns all summer. Going into the summer, you're going to have is it Shador? Is he going to rise above all of
Well, right now it's Sanders. Sanders is apparently healthy. Not Sanders, I'm sorry. Watson.
Watson.
Watt?
Watson is
That's what,
apparently healthy. So,
but an ownership is behind Watson.
well, of
Because
course.
They're paying him.
I mean, what is he
$60 million cap
$260
it this year.
million guaranteed money um
And he's
versus
probably he's still probably better. He's still probably the best quarterback on the roster. So,
probably, but you know, Shador, he ate a lot of shit last year.
because he's
Uh
terrible.
I on for that team in that roster, he's the second best quarterback on that team.
I
So
saw flashes of okay play combined with flashes of
bad play.
awful,
Yeah, yeah.
awful play.
But we can all say that you would start him over Dylan Gabriel.
Yes,
Yeah, I
So,
think there's more upside with Sanders than Gabriel.
so,
there is.
I mean, I think Shador should have been starting all year compared to Gabriel. Um,
Probably.
but I think Shador did enough where it's a full blown competition, right?
Yeah, I think Munkin's going to do a competition, but
They should.
I don't think he's going to beat out Watson. If Watson's healthy, even Watson at his worst is better than Sanders.
Watson hasn't played in 2 years.
It's been a long time. It should be a
It
competition.
will be a competition, but I don't. If
Two
Sanders beats out Watson, then they need to sell the team.
two I mean you say that, but being out of the league 2 years is a long time for football to be off.
I
I
agree.
get it. I get it. We'll
And
see what
he that's
happens.
and when he was playing, Deshaun Watson did not look good. That's we're
No.
It might
gloss
have been. It might have been a culture shock for him too to be in Cleveland, and all that shit came on him, and maybe his head
game
wasn't
on
in.
him. Yeah, I'm gonna I'm gonna sidestep
Oh,
that.
listen, all the stuff that happens, and I'm sure there's just a ton of distractions, and maybe Cleveland wasn't what he thought it was. Well, it's not like he had a freaking choice, but I think there's just a lot of stuff going on. I mean, he was an elite quarterback in this league. So, and I think maybe the
For
injuries
one
derailed
year,
that.
2 years maybe. It
For
was
2 years.
his his window was very short, and you can attribute that to he had peak who went to the graveyard in Tennessee, wide receiver graveyard. And then he went to Kansas City.
DeAndre Hopkins.
DeAndre Hopkins when Watson was playing high level
Yes.
wide
He
receiver
was one of the best receivers for sure.
at that time.
Mhm.
So Watson never deserved that contract to begin with that he got in Cleveland.
Well, of course not.
And his play diminished quickly after that. And then he got hurt and he came back and wasn't good and got hurt again. So I don't, I would, me personally, let Shador go and go get a top pick next year.
Listen, all I'm gonna say is this: I like Todd Monken as the hire here. It's very intriguing, that hire. I don't know. You never know. We've seen plenty of times where coordinators don't pan out. But you give him, you put together this kind of draft, and even halfway decent quarterback play. And I mean, what are we talking about here in the the AFC North, which
Wide open.
may have gotten a little weaker.
It's open.
I don't know how how good anybody's feeling about the Pittsburgh Steelers anymore.
Oh Lord.
Um, listen,
The Cleveland Browns did everything that they needed to do to put their quarterback, whichever one it is, in the best case scenario.
yeah,
You have a new wide receiver 1 and 2, and you bulked up that offensive line, and you're getting year two, um, the running back.
Well,
Uh,
Judkins may miss the year, so
okay then.
you
he tore his ACL late last year.
they've always had some pretty decent backs.
Yeah, they've always had good running backs, so not really anything to worry.
Monken will figure out the run game there. I think they're going to be strong, man. I really do. I think they're still strong defensively. Um, I think I think the wild cards are special teams, quarterback play, and whether this guy is a head coach or not. It's obviously a lot easier to succeed as a head coach when you have all this talent on the team, though. The Cleveland Browns are a pretty talented team. So it's a tough division, though, right? It's a tough division. It's usually a well-coached division, although this year we'll find out about that.
Yep.
Um,
3 new head coaches in that division.
yeah, and one that a lot of people, especially Cincinnati Bengals fans, really don't like. So, with that said, yeah, Browns did great. I don't think anybody could argue with what the Browns did here, for sure.
I think the next part should be we should talk about the absolute worst pick that we have seen. And I think the worst pick was Ty Simpson
Thank you
to
for saying that.
to the Rams because I mean the report afterwards was they felt like players like Mekhi Lemon and Kenyon Sadiq would not have made a big enough impact to put them over the hump because they feel like their team was already good enough to make the Super Bowl.
That's
And
arrogant. That's so freaking arrogant.
which is a little arrogant, but they came a couple plays away from going to the Super Bowl, so I understand where they're coming from. But you got this pick from the Falcons because the Falcons crapped themselves last year, and to take a backup quarterback who doesn't fit any of Bill Parcells's quarterback requirements to be a good quarterback, and I always reference that because he's pretty much right all the damn time. So it's just a head scratcher. And the fact that, and now we know why he came out was because Les Snead called his fucking family and said, I'm going to take him at 13 and no one else knows. So, like, because everyone thought was like, oh, maybe you should go back to school. Like he's probably not going to make it to the first round. And then they take him 13th overall. Like he's going to be the backup. And I understand that they shut everything down where he's like, Matt Stafford is the quarterback until he retires. And because he just came off of MVP. But like, I don't know, a Mekhi Lemon or really a Kenyon Sadiq would be perfect for them since they don't have a fucking tight end. And I feel like Kenyon Sadiq should have been the pick for them there at 13 instead of Ty Simpson and maybe even over Mekhi Lemon because they already have Puka and Devontae. I feel like they needed a tight end. And I don't know
They
how.
could have gotten Ty Simpson later.
Yeah, they could have got him later. And
Yeah.
like, I don't understand. And I guess they're trying to do the, Jordan Love, Aaron Rodgers thing where they have a quarterback set up in 2 years or 3 years when Matt Stafford's gone. But you don't know what quarterback's going to be available in 2, 3 years. And maybe that quarterback is better than Ty Simpson. Like Ty Simpson's undersized. He doesn't have a great arm. It's just one of the worst picks I've seen.
I
And Sean McVay can lie through his teeth all he wants, where he's like, "Oh well, I always wanted him with Les Snead." He's just lying. So I don't want to hear it.
yeah.
He wanted an impact player on offense to get this team back
Get
to the
him a
Super Bowl,
weapon. Get him
or get him an
a
offensive lineman because one of their tackles retired. They just lost fucking Hartenstein. Like one of the tackles was still available. Like I just didn't get it, and they don't get any flack because they're always good and they're always deep in the playoffs. And I get it when you're a team that always wins, you get less shit, but that pick deserves some shit. So
I think that
Pete, what do you think about it? And then I'll go.
Well, I mean, I had the Jets trading up back in the first round, but I also had them trading up in the 20s. So
Fair.
a little bit different and a little bit different. I had a team that needs a quarterback,
Taking a quarterback.
taking a quarterback, not a team that was a few plays away from going to the Super Bowl, taking a quarterback with a top 15 draft pick. Um, the Rams are the kings of the fuck them picks. They could have easily said fuck them picks and still got this kid in the end of the first round or the early second round, probably. But I guess going under the when you know what guy you want, and this is, I guess, ownership, GM, whatever. Like this is we're taking this guy. If you know your guy, you take your guy. Again, could have got him later. Another pick that I just want to touch on that had me kind of scratching my head a little bit was the Dallas Cowboys at pick number 23,
That was
taking
a terrible pick.
Malachi Lawrence, um, edge rusher.
Yeah, that defense is still going to stink, by the way. Caleb Downs isn't going to all of a sudden make their defense amazing. Like they still don't have pass rushers. Their linebacker core is still really weak. They don't really even have a good corner. Like, and so they,
Malachi Lawrence was the ninth ranked edge rusher.
yeah, it was just a horrific reach.
And they traded back with, all right. So you trade back in division with the Eagles.
Let them get their receiver.
You let the Eagles get their receiver of the future, Makai, what is it, Makai Lemon.
Lemon.
Yeah, because AJ Brown's about to be
Because
traded for a first round pick.
AJ Brown's gonna get traded for at least a first round pick because Howie is Howie, and then Howie fugays the Cowboys. Oh, here we're gonna give you some fourth rounders. You're
Just
getting
stupid.
you're getting fourth
Stupid.
rounders. You're getting fourth rounders.
Jerry Jones just loves the Eagles fucking him in the ass. Like I don't understand.
Good Lord, I can't.
And they wonder why they don't win. They
You
wonder why they
couldn't
don't win
have
anything.
you couldn't have two opposite stories with your first two picks and them both being first round picks than what the Cowboys did. A lot of people think Caleb Downs is a Hall of Famer. Okay. I'm not going to argue with the pick. I understand it's a safety. I understand that typically teams don't take safeties very high. If you think you have a Hall of Fame player there, you take him. Period. End of story.
I get taking him in. You're dealing with the Eagles and the Giants right now. You have Malik Neighbors that you're gonna try to lock down. You have on the Eagles side, I mean, AJ Brown's going, but still you have Devontae Smith or whatever. I get that pick. I cannot justify trading in division, allowing the team
Allowing
that
your
is your
opponent to get
biggest
better.
competition gets significantly better than the pick that you took 3 picks later.
It's organizational malpractice.
It is.
And there's a reason. They wonder why they only have one more playoff win than the Giants do in the last 10 years.
No, really, like that's another team that the Jets own their first round pick because of the Quinn Williams trade next year. You're gonna tell me right now if something doesn't happen to Dak, and I'm not wishing injury on anybody. What is that team without their quarterback next year?
You're a
Their
top 10
coaching
pick.
staff sucks.
You're a top 10 pick. That's what you are.
Exactly. Real quick, I'm gonna go back to the Ty Simpson thing.
Yeah.
Not sure how many people know this, but we know about nepotism. We know the kind of role that nepotism can play in professional sports.
Yeah, we do.
The biggest case in point would be LeBron James Jr. in the NBA, right? Absolutely no business being in the position that he is right now. Only got there because of his father, right? We all agree on that. That one's pretty cut
You
and
did?
dry.
Brian?
So,
I mean, he was pretty good at USC. You know what I'm saying?
oh yeah, real good.
He was good
Uh,
in Space Jam too.
3.4 points at USC.
so Ty Simpson, his dad, Jason Simpson, head coach at UT Martin. Okay, he and Les Snead go all the way back. They're really, 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 really good friends. Um, to the point where Snead helped advise the family on when Ty should make his decision to declare for the draft. So, case in point,
It's been in the
nepotism.
cards from day one.
Nepotism. He identified this guy from a very young age. The Jets beat was all over this back in the combine where they were like, bro, Les Snead is like creepy around Ty Simpson. Like he's obsessed with Ty Simpson. And they were right. They were right. And he said, like you guys said, there was no way he was getting past them at 13. Total nepotism pick. Um, Even if Ty Simpson turns out to be a decent player,
It's still a bad pick.
you have to live up to being picked there,
He has to win a Super Bowl to justify that pick.
right? I
That's
mean,
it.
or you have to be a Hall of Fame player, one or the other.
You have to at minimum be, I think,
One or the other.
a top 15 quarterback in this league
For a decent
For an
amount
for
of
a
time.
decent, for an extended amount of time.
For at least 10 years.
Right. And who's to say, because he won MVP last year, that Matt Stafford is going to retire at the end of this season?
He's
So
not.
you can't honestly sit there and tell me that Sean McVay or Matt Stafford are happy about this pick with a straight face. So yeah, you had the Cowboys who one end of the spectrum to the other completely crapped all over themselves with their second pick in the first round. And then the Rams pretty much just tanked their draft because this general manager is used to not doing anything in the draft anyway. So this was a luxury item for him, and he was going to make his really really good friend and their son and his son very happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just stupid. Just stupid. And yeah, the Cowboys taking Downs at 11. Listen, he's going to be a really good player. He may end up being the best safety in the league for a really long time. And that's completely fine. But to Dan's point, they have the Cowboys have a really good offense still. I mean, Pickens, they're probably not going to re-sign Pickens. I mean, they may end if they're out of it, they may end up trading him. They have CD Lamb still. They still don't really have a great running back. I mean, they have Devontae Williams, and he had a good year, or whatever. Javonte. He had a good year for them last year. The offensive line's still pretty decent, but that team is Dak Prescott. That defense still isn't really that good. The cornerback room is still really weak. The linebacker room is weak. Downs is a really nice piece for the safety room. They have Quinnen Williams, but they don't really have edge rushers. How much better did this Dallas defense really get this offseason? How much better did they really get?
And how good is Quinnen Williams? Quinnen Williams, you talk about an overpay. Quinnen Williams was not worth a first and a second round pick.
No. He's not. He's a great player, but he's not worth that kind of capital.
He's not the kind of player
He's
that
not a
you
game
mortgage
changer.
those kind of picks for.
He's not a Dexter Lawrence, right?
No. And you see even with what the Giants got for Dexter Lawrence, a first round pick.
10th overall.
And he is a better player than Quinnen Williams when he's at the top of his game. He is a better player. But yeah, the Cowboys, very suspect. There are coaching staffs in the NFL that people want to question. That's one of them to me. And your defensive coaching staff is, I mean, you look at the experience across the board on the defensive side of the ball to go along with them not having a lot of talent, maybe besides DeMario Overshone out of Texas. Um, Not really impressed with what they've got on that side of the ball. It's tough to win in that division if you're getting run on and, you know, all you can do is really just play, hero ball with your quarterback all the time. That's not going to last for very long. And it's tough to establish a run when you're getting run all over and passed on all over by the teams in your own division, especially the Eagles. So yeah, I'm not very high on the Cowboys at all. I have them as one of these teams that are probably going to finish worse than the future, you know, than their futures win total on any betting site right now. Give me the under.
Yeah, I think the other thing that you touched on, um, the George Pickens situation. Um, I see that flaming out phenomenally.
Hmm.
Um,
He's a problem. There's a reason they got rid of him out of Pittsburgh. He's a problem.
He's a great
and
player, but he's a problem.
great player. And we saw flashes of it last year where he just was unmotivated and he had a monster year.
Yeah.
A monster year. But you know what? He had a monster year because he felt like he needed to have a monster year and he thought that this was going to be his payday.
Yep.
And them tagging him, I'm telling you, is a slap in the face to him.
Hmm.
And I
It'll be interesting.
He might still have a good year, but it might be the last one with him
he
there.
they're not going to pay him what he wants and they're not going to be able to tag him for year two.
No.
So because
And
that
they're not
number
going to be able to pay him what he wants.
Well,
yeah,
because they owe Dak Prescott $80 million because Jerry Jones doesn't know how to work the cap like any other team in the league.
he's going to want $30 million a year. And they're not going to
They're
be
not
able
going to
to.
pay. They're not paying him that. They're not paying him at all.
I got news for George Pickens. There aren't many teams in the league that are going to give him $30 million a year. So that's the other side to this too.
Maybe the
So he's just a
Jaguars because
problem.
maybe the Jaguars because that GM got fucking raked too. Everyone thought he
Mhm.
had a terrible draft.
But this is just my point with the Cowboys and how they use their resources and how they've tried to build this team over the last couple of
They're
It's
years.
stuck.
Jerry.
They're
He's
stuck in the '90s.
so out of touch.
Yeah, it's
It's out of
it's
touch.
not impressive. I get it. Your offense looked really good last year, but you're not building a cohesive team. That's not what I'm seeing. Okay. And what are you in that division if you can't play defense? We've seen it year after year after year. If you're one of the
Cooked.
worst defensive teams in that division, you're gonna finish at the bottom. We see it every year in the NFC East, right? You can't be one of those teams with a bad defense in that division and expect to have a productive year. So I just don't think it's going to be good. I don't think it's going to be good. You wonder how Dak could hold up, playing from behind and having to play hero ball, especially in a really tough division and a really tough conference where there are a lot of good teams, a lot of strong defenses.
Yeah.
It's just going to be tough this year.
And my other L of the draft, um, this is a player. Um,
Diego Pavia.
no, all right. Well,
That's what I thought. That's where I thought he was going.
no, no. Well, that guy, he's the ultimate L
Yeah,
because
he's a loser.
Want somebody to make money off of me,
uh,
representing me.
dude, you're a clown and you are never going to be on a roster. He thinks he's bigger than the Shield, and the Shield makes it a point to humble you. And that's why Shador Sanders went in the fifth round. And yeah, the league talks.
Oh yeah,
The
no,
league
they
talks.
absolutely do. They absolutely do. Now he
So
did get signed to the Ravens, but we'll
I
see. He might not even make the team. That doesn't mean
that
shit. He was undrafted.
yeah, that's your. But my other L was goes to Malik Neighbors.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, good Lord.
Can
I'm so
we
glad. I'm so glad you brought this up.
can we please
Someone
just
tell him to be quiet.
get off, cut the microphone off, and just get out of your own way. Like word vomit, it just
Yeah.
continue. Like
Like I get it. He was a guest on Micah's podcast, and
God,
we're in this whole era now of player empowerment and letting
everybody
players
has a
speak.
voice,
Everyone's got a
and
voice. Speak your mind. Blah 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 blah.
yeah, but you know
Um,
what? Sometimes
Sometimes you got to keep
we
your mouth shut.
just it's how hard is it to take a page out of the Derek Jeter or the Aaron Judge
Or how about Jerry
playbook?
Rice,
Yeah, Jerry Rice, Tim Brown.
Tim Brown?
Tim Brown, yeah, Larry Fitzgerald.
Oh God, the perfect
Yeah, I mean,
citizen.
Like it's the playbook has been written. Like
Hmm.
and it sucks because he is a special talent.
Some of these guys just aren't very smart. Let's
No,
just call it what it is.
no, he's not very smart, and I'm very
mind you,
glad.
he's coming off of a major knee injury. Also, like
Hmm. Talking about how, oh, if like going into it, if the Giants take a receiver, oh, I'm going to be out or something like that.
yeah,
But that
Yeah,
that wasn't even the worst thing he said. The most egregious thing that he said was that, oh, Cardinal Tate wasn't even the best receiver on his own team. Bro, do you watch college football at all, or are you just taking this shit directly out of your rear end? Because Jeremiah Smith, if he had gone in this draft, would have been the number one player taken outside of Mendoza.
yeah.
The Jets would have taken Jeremiah Smith at 2.
He is a
That's how special he is.
dog. If he was
yeah.
able to
So
come out,
I mean, he's not wrong in saying Carnell Tate wasn't even the best wide
But
receiver on that team, but you don't say that.
but what does that mean? It doesn't mean
Yeah,
anything. So
it's
you're
it's
just
word vomit.
saying things just
yeah,
to say them. You're saying them to make the dude look bad when realistically he was one of the best receivers in this class. Nobody is as good as Jeremiah Smith is right now. And you're not
and
making any sense.
and honestly, when the Caleb Down stuff, you coming off as softer than baby shit. I want to hear my number one wide receiver say, "Oh, they took that guy, the best safety, and I'm gonna cook him. I am gonna make him work." Like that's what I want to hear.
Yeah, not, oh, I got to play against this guy twice a year now. Shut up. Giants fans don't want to hear that shit.
No. And you know what? I'm very, very happy that we have an adult in the room. And John Harbaugh apparently, after that podcast, got him on the phone real quick.
I'm sure he
So,
did, and I'm
Good.
sure though. Listen, he's going to be getting dudes on the phone who
yeah.
think that they could just be this loose
Accountability.
lipped. So
Yeah.
yeah,
And
accountability is a thing.
I loved what he said. He said, "Listen, I love Malik. I want my players to express themselves. I've always allowed my players on all my teams to express themselves, but there's a right way and the wrong way to do it." And I had a
Yes.
conversation with him, and it's behind us, and he understands what he did. And listen, like us Giants fans, I was not happy at all about that appearance on that podcast, especially because Mike Parsons is on, it's like he's on the Packers now. Like the whole point of him getting that podcast is because, he was a Dallas Cowboy star. And it's just like, it's a stupid fucking podcast anyway. It's horrible. But what was very interesting is Jordan Renan made a comment on it. And he was like, by the way, this is exactly how NFL players think. He's like, it isn't great that we're hearing Malik Neighbors say this, especially at the wide receiver position, in reference to, because Micah asked him, he's like, what if the Giants take Jordan Tyson right here? And he's like, listen, I think Jordan Tyson's a great player, but he's coming in and I'm in year 3 and he's making more money than me at year 1 and I'm in year 3. Well, you got to pay me next year. It's like, you don't want to hear that, but Jordan
That
Rod
is how
said
they think.
that's exactly how they think.
Yeah.
So it was a little interesting to get that level of honesty. But because I'm sure he doesn't feel that way when the Giants took Malachi Fields, so he's like,
No,
oh,
there's no
getting
chance
paid.
that,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I'm glad that was brought up because that was something that was making the rounds, and it's just like, ugh, like, come on, man, like, what are we doing? So,
Yeah,
but
and
it
it's
is
a
what it
shame.
is.
It's a shame because it shouldn't have been something at all that was a talking point. That's just one of those things that just, it doesn't need to happen. Right?
Yeah, they should have just put Cam Scatterbo in there. That would have been more entertaining.
Oh God. I mean, it certainly would have been entertaining. He has some interesting things to say too.
Well,
And
yeah, because
Scadaboo,
he's a crayon eater, so that would have been at
well,
least more entertaining and not damaging to the fucking team.
So can I
yeah.
just say that my wife is a big Giants fan, okay? And she sent me something the other day, and I couldn't find anything to dispute it. I couldn't find anything that told me that it was true. But I need to know if it's true, okay? And what she sent me was that Cam Scadaboo, with the support of Jackson Dart, went to John Harbaugh and asked him if they can do helmetless practices all year. Okay. I don't even need, do I even need to go further as to tell you that John Harbaugh said no and shut that down right away? I really need to know if that report is true.
So
Because if,
I tried to because she sent that to me and Rich and Nick as well. Um, I could not find any
That's
proof that
that's
it's real.
amazing.
I can't find any proof that it's not real. A
which
part
is
of
a
me, a,
concern because usually these things get dispelled.
yeah, a part of me thinks that it very well could have been because we can't find proof that it's real or not. A part of me feels like that's both of them being tongue in cheek with their new head coach. That's the only thing that I could come up with because of
Or Cam Scadaboo has CTE.
which
Already.
which is completely fine with me.
Oh my
He could have see he
God.
as long as he's okay this year, I don't give a fuck.
Also, when some of the interviews for the players after they were drafted are just Arvel Reese was one of them where they asked him, which New York Giant player are you most excited to play with next year? And what felt like a 10-minute pause for him to think of any New York Giant player.
Well,
And
because
then,
he's also probably thinking about, well, it's not going to be an offensive player. What
well,
guy
and
on
then,
defense am I going to play?
and
And to his
then
credit, I don't fucking know either.
his answer finally, it was like he like kicked in and was like, oh, Jackson Dart.
Yeah, even Tiki's comment on that was interesting. He's like, bro, you talk your way through it. You know what I mean?
He'll
If you
learn.
can't if you can't think of anybody on the team, just be like, I can't wait to meet everyone. And you
Yeah.
say it right away. You know what I mean?
He's 20. He's 20 years old.
I get that. You're young. You just got
He just got to the New York market. He just had he just had some douchebag reporter ask him something stupid for the first time. Like, of course he's gonna be like,
Then
because he's probably
Makai,
thinking, all right, well, I'm on defense, so I'm not going to play with Scott. I'm not going to play with Dart. I'm on defense. Oh, they just traded away Dexter Lawrence. All right, who the fuck else is on this defense? Like I don't fucking know.
like
I'm
that,
real excited to play with Paulson Adebo.
I don't know, Brian Burns.
Brian Burns is a pretty good
Yeah,
answer
there you
to
go.
go.
It should have been Brian Burns. That should have been the answer.
Then Makai Lemon getting interviewed.
Oh
I
Lord.
can't think. I don't like this guy. Can I just tell you?
God.
I don't like him.
God.
This may be a pick. Listen, Howie can't draft wide receivers. He just can't do it. So this guy's either going to be really good or he's going to be really bad. And the fact that Howie Roseman let him wear number 9 is fucking gross.
I don't like that, but let me just say this: Makai Lemon on the field, I don't think
No,
any question about whether he's going to be
on the
good.
field, yeah, but everything after that
Oh boy.
I,
is
It's
I'm
red
good.
flags
He-
everywhere.
I'm good.
he screams wide receiver is all I'm gonna say. Screams wide receiver.
Yeah, like he has like sociopathic tendencies through 2 interviews so far. So
And the
I'm good.
Yeah, and Howie has no issue picking guys that have character issues.
and
So
somebody else, I don't know who it was. They showed the like the GM and the head coach calling them, and I'm a dog, or it just said like for the entire time, I'm that one. I'm the one. I'm
yeah,
him.
it's
I'm
just
him.
very,
I'm him. And I
very
was like,
like when you're
there-
not an educated player or like if you can't speak very well, like that's usually a
these
turnoff for
are
most coaches.
these are not like these video clips. Yeah, if you're not a well-spoken, I that and that should be a thing.
Yeah,
Like
you should have
going
good
into the
vocabulary,
draft, you should definitely take a PR course or something. Like
especially if you're in the Philly market or in the New York
it's
market.
just, I feel like
Yes.
like you should do yourself a service, and it's a disservice to yourself if you don't do something
No,
like that.
100%. But I think what Zach is trying to say is it's highlighted
Oh yeah, it's you are in
those
the
markets.
spotlight.
Bro,
Is just
Philadelphia won a Super Bowl 2 years ago, and they're ready to run their quarterback out of town. It's just like that's the Philly market that you're
I'm
dealing with
him.
as a rookie.
I'm him. I'm him.
I'm him.
I'm him,
I'm
coach.
him.
I'm
And the interview during the combine where he's like doing this crazy ass stare and oh yeah,
He's like
when
that.
he gets drafted, he's doing this on stage for 2 minutes. So I'm good.
Yeah, no thanks. That I would have
I'm
taken him
good.
off my board immediately.
So yeah, I mean, but I guess you're gonna get that. There's like, NFL is just a league of personalities, and I guess that's one of the hardest things to navigate is you can have a team full of the most elite players, but personalities that you also have to contend with. And that's, I guess, that's why the quarterback gets paid the most money. Not only are you touching the ball every single play, but you are the leader of 52 other guys,
Yep,
52 other personalities, and it's, I don't care, the head coach or the GM, it's you. You are the guy.
Yeah, you're the
So
player coach of a multi-billion dollar
dollar.
organization.
Yeah, agree.
to keep this together, and it's just wild.
It is
Yeah.
wild.
Um,
Now, to be fair, and like I said, heard him interview a couple of times. Seems like a pretty smart dude, David Bailey. One of the Jet Beat guys asked him who he was looking forward to playing against, and he said the Giants. You know,
yeah,
listen,
yeah.
this is a guy who went to Stanford. Okay, so right away, you know he's a pretty smart dude. But then transfers from Stanford to Texas Tech. I mean, nowhere near the East Coast. Probably didn't grow up following these teams
Yeah,
at
probably
all.
doesn't even. Yeah, he probably thinks that they're
Um,
like a rivalry with like Yankees and Mets. You know.
So to him, that
Yeah,
was probably the answer to get the fan base fired up. And
yeah.
really, what we wanted to hear you say was the Patriots.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the whole NFC East. I want to make them my bitch.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
The whole
great, okay,
NFC
fine.
East. Yeah.
But like, yeah, you're missing the mark on that one a little bit. I'm sure somebody told them right after that.
They're like, listen. They're like, listen here, bro.
Listen, we play them in preseason.
Yeah, that's the Snoopy Bowl.
Yeah, this.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just
It was good. You know what? It was the draft had all the ups and all the downs possible.
it was everything that I
we
had
wanted.
wanted it to be and more.
Yes.
And which is saying a lot. because
because this draft class wasn't really highly touted.
the
So
consensus was it was not a very strong class. Now that could mean shit
There was
once
a
we actually
lot
get ball
of
on the field.
movement. There was a lot of movement.
Yeah,
a lot of
yeah,
movement.
because around that spot where the Cowboys were picking, that's when people said, all right, well, talent, especially certain positions, going to
Takes a
start
dip.
dropping off. And if you don't need a receiver, if you don't need a tight end, if you don't need a corner, um, it was going to drop off pretty fast. There was a lot of depth in offensive line. I think we saw that. I think we saw
Yeah.
that our teams got some pieces later in the draft that could end up being decent depth pieces. Or one of them maybe even a starter right away, like you said, Kuhn from Texas A&M might start right away, right? So, yeah, not really a strong draft overall, but like when we get ball on the field, we'll see.
Yep.
And you know what?
We'll
I've
see.
never been happier for when Reuben Bain Jr. got drafted, and my man was just all emotion. He grabbed that hat, and
Didn't
he
even stop.
didn't
Yeah,
he didn't stop to check himself out in the
yeah.
mirror and give him the fit check. He grabbed that hat and he was on a mission to get to that stage, and
Yep.
boom, I got drafted. I'm excited for him.
Me too.
He's I think he's gonna prove a lot of people
I agree.
Yeah, I think
'cause
that's going to be a good pick for Tampa Bay.
I agree. Now, in hindsight, position didn't match what my team needed. He was one of my favorite players going into this draft. So I do agree. And you see the man, right? You see the person too.
mhm.
I like that all business.
Yeah,
You keep fucking going, grab your hat, put it on the way,
yeah.
to hugging the commissioner, and that's it. And now it's
Yeah.
time to go to work. Like that's
That's
my kind of dude
that
right
Yeah,
there.
that's bring your lunchbox. You know.
That shit gets me horny for sure.
I agree. I
Yeah.
agree. But I
Uh,
mean, this draft couldn't have gone any better, I think,
it was fun.
for all three of our teams collectively.
Yeah, very very rare that all of our teams were pretty much at the top of everyone's draft grades. That's never
Yeah.
really happened before.
Actually, I should have done some research going into this, knowing that all three of our teams scored pretty high. I want to know when the last time was that all three of our teams, at least immediately after, got scored this high.
You know what? I think last year it came close because I know the Giants had one of the highest rated drafts last year, but
That's true.
I'd have to check. But either way,
Raiders had a good draft last
yeah,
year as well.
yeah, it
And
might have been
we took
last year.
Membu, who's probably the strongest offensive lineman out of that whole class last year. So
Yeah, easily.
I think
So
maybe you're right. Maybe it
it
was
might have
last
been
year.
last year. But before
Yeah,
that, who fucking knows, but
yeah.
all right, boys. Well, this was awesome. This was probably our longest episode in a long, long time, and it needed to be a long episode for all the stuff that has happened here.
That was in-depth
Um,
analysis
super in
from
depth.
your boys.
Yes, most in depth analysis I know I've ever given because I did my homework this time. But this was a lot of fun. We will be back, when baseball season gets a little bit going more. We got the second round of NBA playoffs going on. We got a lot going on still. So, we're going to be back pretty soon. Going to try to do one a week here as we
Yeah,
go through the summer.
we are going to be
Um,
your consistent learning and just
consistent learning.
tune in to see what's coming out of one
Our,
of our mouths
especially mine.
because
And especially mine, because you might be shocked.
yeah. Yeah, we got
So,
Dano, who's on the verge of a heel turn right there. We have Zach with golden rays of Yankee sunshine right now. Who knows when the gloom birds can come
Dan's
through?
on the verge of a heel turn. I'm on the verge of a face turn.
It's the double turn right
It's
here.
the double turn.
You got your boy just riding in the middle. We're just staying consistent. We'll get Ray back on. I mean, viewership's up. People are downloading.
We love to see
We
it.
We now have a TikTok that we are about to
Start using.
start smashing some quick clips for you guys. Um, big things.
Big
Listen,
things coming.
yeah,
So
I have a few ideas in my head that we'll keep under wraps right now, but we
good.
I have one spicy moment that happened during the draft. Zach and I made a bet. Maybe we can post that bet on the socials for everybody
Yes.
to see.
yeah, I
Yes.
listen, I we definitely we can
Because I have it
for
saved, right? We did the
So we
um
we did just so everybody could know right now, and then we'll post it to the socials too. Because I'm a crazy Jet fan, and I got all turned up and bent out of shape about a lot of stuff that was coming across my feed, and I went hell bent one night, and I got so mad that I made a bet that I might regret, and Zach will be $100 richer. But I bet that Geno Smith is going to have better passing statistics this year than Jackson Dart.
So passing
So,
statistics, are we talking rating, completion percentage, yards, touchdowns, interceptions,
yep,
yeah, so
QBR?
yeah,
sure.
so
So
one of
we could do all encompassing whatever
yeah. So
makes the
like if
most
one of
sense.
them had like so if one of them has three if they lead in three categories
All
of
right.
the total five, then
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah. All right.
yeah.
So,
I was pretty confident in taking that bet.
wow.
We'll see. I
Wow.
still,
This,
I got to be honest. I still feel good about the bet.
I
I
think
might,
I
I
think
might be out
I think
$100.
I think Klubnik takes over week 6.
I think people are kind of sleeping on Gino. And Pete, you felt this last year when they signed him. You can't tell me
yeah,
that
but
you
then
didn't
guess
feel this.
I I did feel that, and then he had to touch a football. I am gonna go on the record and say you're cooked. And Geno
You're
Smith, I don't care. Yes, he was under duress a lot. However, However, there were plenty of opportunities
He's
when he
led the
was not
league
under
in
duress and he could not make a read for the life of him. And I don't know what happened in the span of 2, 3 years.
he's led the league in interceptions for 3 years in a row. That's not going to
The
change all of a
the
sudden.
wheels have fallen off and
okay.
they wrote him off, and he probably should pick up a piece of pen,
Listen, he got
a
his
pen and
money.
paper,
He got his money. He's
and
fine.
Yeah.
he can write back now.
What did Seattle provide him with that the Raiders didn't? An actual team. So
An
I'm just gonna
offensive
leave it right there.
I okay.
Well,
I'm just gonna leave it
he
right
did
there.
lead the league in interceptions for 2 years while in Seattle. That's all I'll say.
Okay, I'll have to go back and double check that. But he had 30 touchdowns one of those years.
Yeah, he
And he
did.
was supported with a really good running game and some good weapons on the outside. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
But
Listen.
it is
This
a
is part of
fun
the
bet.
spiciness that I'm saying that we could also bring to the socials. We'll post it. We'll
Yeah,
have people comment on it.
we will post on this. I'm still
That's going
waiting
to be an interesting response.
for Dano Aaron Glenn.
I'll give you okay. How's this? If I win that bet, I'll give you the Aaron Glenn. Okay,
Oh,
down the sideline. If I win that bet, then I'll bust out the Aaron Glenn.
Yes, you heard it here first as a Dog Talk exclusive, because now there's a record of it, and Dano's a man of his word.
Yes, I am. I
So,
will do it.
so yeah, shout out to that. I love this. This is amazing. But yeah, I have some ideas going on in the old
the old
Thunderdome.
brain.
But yeah, we're locked and loaded,
We're
baby.
locked and loaded. I'm excited for the summer. It's going to be a solid one because it'll be at least me praising the Yankees for a little bit until they eventually piss me off in July. So we shall see.
World Series, baby.
Other than that, thank you guys so much for watching, listening, liking, watch all, view all, vote. You're going to see some social stuff popping up, and make sure y'all vote for Jackson Dart. He. Peace out.
Peace.